What is up, everybody? Welcome to the WMMA Today podcast, episode number 72. We have a good lineup this week. Of course, Drake Riggs and I, Steve King, here to talk everything women's MMA. Um, we got the UFC Vegas 40 recap. We got Bellator 268 recap. We have some news. We have the mailbag. A couple questions in the mailbag this week. And previews, man. Lots of previews. Like three cards, four cards of previews. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Welcome to everybody who's saying hey to us in the chat. As always, we love you guys and thank you for coming every week. So let's get this shit started, Drake, with UFC 240.
All right. Well, before that, Steve, of course, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You guys tell you right out the gate here. Of course, hit that like button. Really helps us support the channel, all that kind of thing. I know you guys are very good about it, but still got to put it out there. We are now on Anchor, Spotify for audio only versions, all that stuff. Getting on the Twitter side of things as well, streaming on my Twitter right now. But FYI, if you make comments on Twitter while you're watching live right now, they do not go through to the chat, just so you know. So better to interact on YouTube, but still feel free to watch on Twitter. That is fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
that's unfortunate. Like I never really understood that. Drake, you and I talked about going Periscope and stuff, but I was like,
it's because Periscope's gone, Steve.
We won't see. No, but I mean, even before, we won't see anything that people are saying.
No, Periscopes, they used to go through.
Did they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they did.
I mean, I guess we didn't experiment, but I'm pretty sure that I saw other streams where they would go through.
Okay, so Twitter now doesn't, and that's stupid. I don't understand. Like, what?
Yes. Yes.
Anyway,
back on track. Fights that happened. Before we get to UFC Vegas 40, Steve, though, I didn't put him on the lineup because I haven't got to see him yet, and I know you didn't either. But got to mention that we did have 3 at least notable victories and at least events that happened over the weekend. Deep, what was it? Impact. There was a deep show. I don't exactly remember the name, exactly what they were calling it. But Aya Murakami and Eru Takabayashi had fights this weekend. I'm sure some of you may have seen the results as well. But Aya Murakami keeps on keeping on. Yet another armbar back-to-back since she was supposed to be in the atomweight tournament in Deep Jewel. So I think it was like 333. She hit the armbar on Tamata. Good win for her. I imagine still haven't seen it, like I said. But, hey, she got a finish over, a pretty experienced opponent. That's good. And then Takabayashi suffered a loss. She unanimous decision. Sounds like it was her opponent, utilizing her ground weaknesses and kind of just took her down. So I'm very curious to see how that one played out. But Takabayashi with a setback. She's only 18 still, so we're still going to be very high on her. I am anyways. Choo-choo. Train rolls on. But, yeah, so she didn't get finished unlike in comparison to her RIZIN debut. But Takabayashi, unanimous decision loss to Eric Koga. So stay tuned for Koga as well. Look out for her. And then, of course, Steve, are we really surprised that Rin Nakai ended up beating Suzuki in that one? She made it to the MMA round and got a ground and pound TKO. Well, not really surprised there.
Kind of
good
what
for
we
Rin Nakai
when they made the fight.
Yeah, just got to survive the.
Just had to get past.
That same thing's going to apply to DJ, so we'll see if he can replicate that.
But
tougher for him.
Yeah,
a lot tougher.
A hell of a lot tougher, I think.
So
I really can't wait for that fight. Like, I'm really anticipating it. I'm intrigued. I'm super intrigued by that fight.
Yeah, definitely. But if it goes exactly like that, you guys don't be surprised because we just saw an example of how that kind of thing can go. So with that in mind, let's roll on to UFC Vegas 40, which happened this past weekend. I did not get to watch it in full since I was covering Bellator, and what a crazy, insane week it was over in Phoenix, you guys. My goodness, I had myself a time for many reasons, but sounds like this card wasn't the best. Once again, I did watch the ladies' fights, though, of course, as I must do, but I haven't got to watch any of the other fights yet. Aside from, I saw Jim Miller's knockout, which is ridiculous that he did that. But anyway, kicking off the card, very first fight of the night, Steve. pretty solid performance here and went maybe about as we expected. I know we thought it would end earlier, but are we that surprised?
No. And Carnelosi beat Estela Nunes, third round submission, rear naked choke. Yeah, so I mean that rear naked choke was fucking monstrous. Like, look at her just trying to kill a girl in there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so it was funny because this was the one and only fight I watched live because UFC started earlier before Bellator, and I was having lunch before going to the Bellator event, watching with some of the other guys, and I thought that Estella actually did not look very rusty, considering how inactive she's been. Steven, we were talking all about that last week,
Yeah,
and it was essentially the biggest point of contention in this fight, and I mean considering Carnelossi being healthy now. But essentially, my biggest takeaways from this fight were that Carnelossi did her best Halloween costume. She did her best attempt to replicate Jessica Andrade, which worked out in the end. It wasn't quite exactly the same, but she was effective and got the win. So was just interfaced the whole fight, right?
look how red she is in that picture.
He's squeezing the life out of a woman.
Fucking yeah.
Wouldn't want those arms around my neck. Jeez.
Yeah, she's got some guns on her. But yeah, it was a good fight. I mean, Carnelosi she's really good, Drake. I mean, we talked about that. But Estela Nunes, she looked good, man. She was a good fighter prior to her layoff.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if that layoff she didn't look as rusty as the main event fighter did.
We'll get to that. That's very true. Yeah, no, I mean she was just dealing with just an insane amount of pressure that Carnelossi was putting on her, coming at her nonstop, like I mentioned. So she fought pretty well off the back foot, but it was just like that's a tough thing to deal with, in most cases, let alone having not fought in quite a while. So yeah, I'm curious to see how quickly she'll get back in there and what she can do against a better matchup. Maybe don't give her like a softball or anything, but curious to see how she rebounds off of this and where Carnelossi goes next as well. Yeah. So because she brought the heat, as I said. So
she definitely did. I really look forward to seeing Estela Nunes. I'm not saying that Carnelossi didn't do her job. I'm kind of focusing on Estela Nunes because she was like a really fun fighter in this fight, until obviously getting rear naked choked. But
it's funny. I was gonna say it's funny you mentioned that because Scott's here. Good to see you, Scott. He says Nunes fighting style is fun to watch. Look forward to seeing her fight again. So
it is, man. Like I forgot because it's been so long, but then I was like, yeah, dude, she's a good fighter.
Yeah, I mean, she did fight for she fought Angela. I don't remember if that was the title fight. Like I said last week, it was so long ago. But either way, had that spot and had some interesting comments about that actually before this fight. But that is neither here nor there at the moment. We don't need to get into one talk this week today. So yeah. Ghost chiming in and asking, how could you not enjoy Jim Miller's opponent attempting a running crescent kick and getting starched? So funny. Hey, I like me some Ghost Pepper, so that was a little sad to see him go out that way. He deserves to be in the UFC. I didn't see the first round, but I heard that he did all right. So
old man strength, baby.
Crazy.
I don't think he's ever gonna stop fighting.
That's what I was saying after that. I was like, geez, he got a knockout in his 50th fight.
He looked phenomenal, man. He looked phenomenal. He looked great shape. He's crazy. It's wild to see these older fighters. I mean, not old like old in fighting, I guess. Not old in age, but old in fighting. 50 fights is a lot of fucking fights.
Yeah. No kidding. And the people that he's fought, it is pretty wild. So safe to say he very well could make it to UFC 300 as he hopes to do.
So. It's so wild that he wants to fight at UFC 300. No,
Well, I'm not going to bet against him at this
I
point.
mean,
So,
absolutely not. I won't either. Not until he gets knocked out, I guess.
and only twice, actually. I was looking at his record before this. He's only been
Yeah,
knocked out
it
twice,
never
Steve.
happens. It never happens.
Can you remember who did it? This is a
I
quick
don't.
quiz for you.
Yeah, no, no.
All right,
Was,
I'm gonna let the chat make their
was,
quick
this,
guesses.
was it
No
Cowboy?
cheating.
Was it Cowboy?
Okay, that's one.
All
But
right.
there's been one since then.
Since
So
then, shit. Um,
I forgot that they even fought too. So
who is it then? Who is it? Tell me.
Dan Hooker got that knee on him up the
Oh,
nose.
that fucker. That's right. I remember that. That's
Yeah,
right. Oh, how did I not remember Dan Hooker's knee? That was filthy.
that was like the
So
beginning of
filthy.
Hooker's
His run.
stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
so filthy too.
yes, it was indeed. But carry on with the action. Potential filthiness here, Steve. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts as well as the chats on this fight because I have some feelings about it actually as well.
Yeah, so Luana Carolina beat Lupita Godinez by decision, unanimous decision. Um, man, Carolina looked pretty solid, right? I kind of feel like Lupita rushed into a fight that was not really good for her.
I mean, in terms of situation, like flyweight,
Yeah,
the
it was
size, all that kind of thing. Yeah, but I mean, on paper, I mean, I still think that.
Carolina was massive compared to Lupi.
Yeah, I mean, they were literally different weight divisions, so that was kind of the case there. And
Well, much like the main event too.
mm, we'll get to that
We'll
as
get
well.
we'll get to
But,
Norma's fucking tree trunk legs.
right? Yeah, she thick. But Loopy,
Thick with a bunch of C's.
yeah, last week we just kind of agreed, and I still feel that this way that she's, the better fighter on paper, right? But sometimes circumstances will prove different,
Yeah.
right? In certain cases. And the funny thing though with this fight, Steve, as we look at it here,
Look at that control time, man.
yeah, there was that plenty of control time. The strikes in this fight, the striking stats are funny to me because watching it, I feel like they were off. And I kind of feel that way about the main event as well. We'll get to that again. But like, I honestly could see an argument for Loopy winning every round of this fight. I think that you could argue she won the last two rounds. Won the first one for sure. The last two, though, I don't know. That's why the numbers are weird to me because I feel like Carolina did not land that much and that effectively. I feel like it was pretty close. And then obviously Loopy was pressing the action. This was weird for me. I don't think it's a robbery, but I think Loopy should have won probably.
It's possible.
Am I off here?
I didn't watch this card. I watched the fight.
Okay.
No, I didn't watch any MMA at all this weekend. But yeah, I mean, I think that Loopy is the better fighter out of the two. I don't know if Carolina got the nod because her strikes looked cleaner. I don't
maybe.
Yeah, I would assume that that's probably what it was for Luana. I would assume. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't watch any of the post fight interviews. I didn't watch any of the. I didn't even watch the fight with commentary on or anything like that. So I don't know like what other people were thinking at all. Mm-hmm. It's just what I kind of saw.
Yeah, and Jin is here. Good to see you, Jin, as well. Good to see everybody. Loopy did okay, he says. Just size and strength makes the difference. I mean, yeah, they were.
I mean, Carolina was just so big compared to Loopy in there.
Yeah, and James says
literally a whole weight class bigger.
Yes, but props to her for taking that, by the way. Just a week's difference. She fought last week. Crazy. Yeah. And James says, honestly, did not enjoy this fight. Loopy looked uncomfortable in there, even when she was pressuring. Yeah.
she wasn't like on her game. She wasn't even with all of that control time and stuff. She wasn't throwing. She wasn't throwing those hard combos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she
And
didn't
control
go.
time should not win her the fight, right? That's not my argument. I was
No.
not arguing that being a reason for her, because that should not win a fight. But unless it's like, insanely close or whatever. But yeah, I just I don't know. I'll have to watch it again, I guess. But
I think it would have been. I think Drake. I think it would have been okay if they would have given either fighter the win.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's not a robbery. It isn't a robbery. It would have been fine if Lupi got the win. Carolina obviously got the win. It's fine either way, I think.
Yeah, and this like doesn't set back Lupi at all either, because
she needs to fight in her real division. I mean, she
Right.
took this on a week's notice after fighting literally last week's show. So I mean, it's a loss, but it's not a bad loss, I guess. At least she didn't get finished. That would have been bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been great. So, Cintro says he thought that Lupi lost that. She was running into counters. I mean, she was obviously the aggressor, getting her up against the cage and all that.
But I feel like Carolina had her striking going better than Lupita did, and I don't see Lupita being the worst striker out of the two. Like I just feel like she was off her game in this fight.
Yeah. But again, in the end, does not mean too much. But
no, it's just a loss for her. And I mean, it's a good one we're talking about Lupi. It's a good one for Carolina.
Right. All right. So we will see what is next in that regard. And Ghost asked for it. He just said, call him the casual of the chat. So we will, as he says, he did not watch this fight. Only prelim fights he watched were Miller and Batgarel, which that was a great finish. Destroyed poor Brandon Davis, did Dana, but yeah, that was that. And Jimmy piling on. Ghost is the ultimate casual. Might as well get it in while we can, because we know Ghost is not a casual. So all good fun there. And we have a couple of questions about the next fight. So let's roll on. I'm on this train still. Here we are, Steve.
Yeah. And on Firo beat Mayra Bueno Silva. Unanimous decision. Couple 30-27s and a 30-26. 30-26 was the first round, right? Had to be the first round.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really feel that way, but yeah, sure. I don't know. I didn't see the scorecards either.
A 30-26.
Yeah. So in one of them anyway. I mean, if we look at the round by round right here, I guess it could have been the third round, right?
It could have been the third. There. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which round it was, but it doesn't really matter. Firo is a badass, and she's just her stock's rising. It's taking off, man. You've been on that shit for a long time, Drake, but I think it's opening eyes now.
Yeah, definitely. But if we're going to be completely honest at the same time, this was kind of weird, because not from Firo's standpoint, and we'll also talk about this a bit in a second as well with the main event, but like she fought wonderfully, was kind of spamming a little bit of the same combo throughout the whole fight, but it worked. If it's not broken down, fix it, right?
You would like to change it up so that you throw your opponent off, and
right.
But yeah, she kind of just kept throwing the same shit. That's kind of not good, because once she gets in there with somebody tougher, like say a Valentina Shevchenko, she's gonna get picked apart doing that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, the counter queen right there. You don't want to do that, but right. Still, the volume and kind of consistency of Firo is something that is very important to see. I think just a very mature performance from her, but a very odd one though from Silva, who, like
You look like
I
crap.
just did not didn't show up. Kind of we were so excited for this fight, Steve, right? Like I thought it would be awesome, but it was just
Yeah,
one-way traffic, like and not even a
yeah.
finish out of
Silva
it,
looks
which
like crap.
we didn't expect to finish. At least I didn't. I knew that Silva would be tough enough to survive in there, but she just did not
Yeah,
put up the kind of same effort that we had all hoped for. So that was a bit of a bummer. But again, I still think Firo is incredibly talented, and she was even
yeah.
upset with herself for not getting the finish, which you like to
I
see
think
that.
she's hard
So
on herself though, Drake. Like she gives off that vibe where she's not happy even in a win. Like she thinks highly of herself. She's a thinker. It seems like, and
mhm.
she kind of disapproves of herself, even though she won the fight in a good way, I guess. I mean, she pretty much dominated this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Can't argue with that. So Joseph is here as well. Good to see you, Joseph. He says it's time for a step up for Firo, who she beat, a girl who broke her forearm, a girl who is a 105-pounder. Oh, he's saying all the opponents. Well, you don't have to. That's good old Joseph for you. So, but he says time for a step up for Firo. Obviously, I mean 3 in a row now. She,
Yeah.
yeah, she's definitely going to get a top 15 or next. At least you would imagine. And I believe Scott actually asked us about this in the mailbag. So sorry to the mailbag, but might as well
So
answer
did
his
Juice.
question now. Oh, did Juice also ask about Firo? Let me see
He
here.
did.
Oh, he asked what is Firo's ceiling. So
Yeah. What you want to start with that?
yeah, let's go with that one first. I mean, I think she's a championship potential kind of fighter, but to say that she'll be champion when Valentina's champion, it's like that's very hard to stamp that one down. I think she'll be a top 5 contender at some point. That'll be my solid answer to you, Juice. But yeah, I mean, I think very highly of Firo, and I
Yeah.
think that as she continues to climb, she'll only adjust to the levels or go above and beyond. So
You
she's
would
very
hope.
good. She is very good.
She's good. And I think that she needs to change up a little bit. She needs to throw different type of strikes, mix shit up in there against better
Well, she
fighters.
typically does is the thing. That's why I
Silva
was
looked
kind of,
Silva was
interested.
trash in this fight. Straight trash in this fight. She was a dumpster fire of shit. She didn't do anything in this fight. Like it was weird. Um
She took some shots and waved her on like Betch.
yeah. She certainly took shots, and yeah, she was like, let's go, even though she's fucking getting her ass whooped like Rocky. Um but yeah, I mean, the ceiling, I guess, is a title fight. That's the ceiling. She ain't gonna beat fucking Valentina, uh, but also she needs a couple
Right
more
now,
fights.
Steve. Right now.
Yeah, she needs a couple more fights. She needs better opponents.
So then that brings us to kind of Scott's question, which is even though Manon did not finish MBS, who was tough as nails, he puts in parentheses, I thought she fought brilliantly. Yeah, I agree as well. And he
Yeah,
says, who would you like to see her fight next? And then he suggests Calvillo or
I,
the I versus Andrea Lee loser on November 13th. So real
I
quick
like the
before we,
Calvillo
yes,
fight.
I like that as well. But
It's
in
fun.
regards to Jessica I and Andrea Lee, apparently, like right before we went on air, something
Oof.
came out that
Oh boy.
that Jessica I has been hospitalized. The fight is not off, but she was in the hospital either right now or a couple days ago. So that doesn't sound like a good thing. Didn't read it, didn't get a chance to, but
Weird.
that's where we're at. Either
Oh,
way, he says Calvillo. You like it, Steve? That's the way to go.
I like the Calvillo fight. I do. I think that's a fun one. I would hope it's a fun fight. You would think that Calvillo comes out a little bit hungrier than what she did against Andrade. Um, whereas Firo is, she is what she is, and I think that's a good fight for both of them. I would
Yeah,
enjoy it.
it's a solid test if Calvillo decides to try and wrestle.
Wrestle, please wrestle. Yeah, that's please wrestle.
So, Rain chiming in saying Firo looked like trash in this one. MBS did nothing. That is
I don't
an
know if you're
interesting
like
perspective
trash.
because it's like who
I
are you
think her
putting more of the
opponent.
blame on?
I think her
Yeah.
opponent looked like trash, and Firo just didn't push to get to to throw enough to get a knockout or to finish the fight in some sort of fashion. Because she could have. I think if she pushed a little harder, she could have finished the fight. She just didn't.
Yeah. But again, it's like they don't necessarily need to, but I don't know. I'm just looking at it from all angles, and I know Chuck did not like the fight either, as he's mentioning here that Silva did nothing. Firo just spammed the same combo. Lame fight. Not
Yeah,
impressed.
that same combo thing. That's really what like irks me about her because her striking is really solid, right? I mean, Drake, that's pretty much what got you on board was her striking. She's really good, right? Didn't look that way in this fight, but I don't I think that it was Silva. Like it was the way that Silva fought that made her look that made she fought down rather than fought better and fought up to her own potential. I don't know, like it's just weird to me.
Well, it's funny if you do look at like this fight, the Loopy fight, the main event. These were all under not the original circumstances, right? Like fight opponent changes for Loopy and then Norma, and then in this fight, it was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago. I'm not making excuses or anything like that, but hey, look at this wasn't like it was all normal here. There were things that were all over the place a little bit, but understandable perspectives, I suppose. As Jin says, he thought this was disappointing for Firo. She was repetitive in this fight, unlike her other
The chat
fight.
is not feeling Firo.
I know. Even Ghost says one of the funniest fights I've seen.
They're kind of harsh these past couple of weeks.
Incredibly. He says MBS looked like Joshua Clottey versus Pacquiao. I don't understand that reference. He says you can hit me, but it doesn't really hurt.
Oh wow. Okay, Claudia.
Is that a throwback?
Yeah, Claudia.
Yeah, Jimmy. Man, harshness as well here. Saying this is what everyone was so hyped for. 1, 2, 3 sidekick. Rinse, repeat. Jimmy, look at the rest of her career, my man. Come on now. Don't be that way. Ghost says Firo could have gotten a more convincing win if she changed levels with her striking. It doesn't take a rocket science to go 1-2, then hook to the body. Yeah, but again, like Steve kind of said, Silva wasn't forcing her to change it up at all.
No, she wasn't. Like I personally blame Silva more than I do Firo. But with that said, she could have pushed harder,
right,
to get the finish. And I feel like she's hard on herself. She'll go back and watch this and be like, "Look, this wasn't me."
Yeah. And Scott is here being our Alvin until Alvin shows up. Appreciate you, sir. He says, I'm still all in on Man of Fior. MBS was just a bad dance partner, which is so disappointing because like we said on paper, this fight on paper should have been awesome. But yeah, that wasn't the case. I still enjoyed it from a Firo supporter perspective. But
but you wish that Silva would have done better. And
well, of course, I like good fights. Weird. I like good fights, Steve. So yeah. But
that was just a trashy ass fight from Silva. So
yeah. So all right, we'll move on from there to the main event, which I'm sure that the chat is only going to continue on with the current momentum that they have going right now. So let me get the stat sheet up here right now, which we can also talk about, which I found to be surprising, a little bit like the loopy one. Hold on. All right, here we are. The main event, Steve.
Yeah, so Norma Dumont beat Aspen Ladd by a unanimous decision, 49-46, in all 5 rounds, or all 3 judges for all 5 rounds went to.
There was actually a 48-47 in there. That's my bad.
Okay, so yeah, just a bad fight for Aspen. I don't know if she belongs at 145. She's going to be smaller than all of them. I don't know. She didn't use her wrestling at all. She couldn't use her wrestling at all because Norma Dumont has legs that are bigger than my whole body. Like her waist down is thick with all of the C's. She's got that fucking donk on her. She's got those legs. They're amazing. Like she's marketable as fuck.
I was waiting.
Like I haven't used that line.
I know, it's been weeks.
I haven't used that line in a long time. I'm kind of saving it. You know, I'm not throwing it at everyone like I used to. But god damn it, Norma Dumont.
I need a marketable stamp, especially now that Yusuf hasn't been showing up. So I need that and all these fancinesses. But yes, so here we are with the main event. Yeah, that was the, I mean, obviously very weird performance from Aspen Ladd. And as you mentioned earlier, off the top,
So
probably
weird.
the rustiest fighter out of everyone we're going to talk about. At least, I mean, I guess so. Mentally, I mean, physically, she seemed fine. You know, she didn't tire out, but again, there wasn't a lot of work.
Though. She literally couldn't.
She didn't do what she was best at.
Couldn't get a takedown on Norma Dumont. Okay, so she's much bigger. Obviously, she's a whole weight class bigger than Aspen Ladd is. But you would hope that she would be able to get takedown at least one.
Yeah,
she's a wrestler, for fuck's sake. Wrestle.
It was very odd, very, very odd. And
so what did you think of her coach? You know, doing the whole thing that she did with Kunitskaya. Kunitskaya, you know, he hyped her up. She went out and got the finish against Kunitskaya, right? He tried to do it again in this fight. It didn't work. It kind of like Aspen was gonna cry when he was saying, like, I don't know if mentally, like, she was in this fight.
Well, I mean, he kind of was beating her up, you know, verbally between rounds until really being like, all right, you got to do it now. You know, like that. I think it's different in that case with the Giannis fight where.
Was that round 3?
I mean, where he was, yeah, it was actually, because then in round 4, obviously, you know, they had lost by that point for sure. And yeah, and she got on top briefly at the very end of that round. But honestly, in this fight, I thought that Norma won every round as well. I say as well as
that jab, dude.
Yeah, jab was on point. She
was jabbing the shit out of Aspen.
Yeah, that she was. Landed some overhands every now and again, but very smart performance again by Norma. And, you know, I'm glad to see that. I think I haven't really seen online too much shit for Norma because, you know, she did exactly what she was supposed to do. And I mean, main event, her first main event, like all these things for someone who still doesn't have that much experience. She was the underdog against Holly and a lad who was coming in. All these things, like, of course, you're going to do everything you can to be careful and secure this victory. She did her job wonderfully, I thought. Of course, not as good as like her Felicia win or anything like that, but she looked great out there and thwarted off Ladd from doing anything, really, as mentioned. But yeah, I think it was well done by her. And yeah, I mean, Ghost chiming in here saying Norma has some good kicks with some stank on them and has some interesting setups like her pivot offline and score on the outside low kick. Oh, that Sonda, Ghost, come on now. And then he says, Aspen's cornering was incredible. Jim West was telling her to rear hand into clinch, and this guy in the mask was telling her to double jab. So funny. I didn't hear that part. I don't know if they showed it afterwards, but a lot of bleeping in there. And then Ghost says, just wish just wish that Norma would do more of the stuff she does already. Like I said, you know, a lot of change ups to all these fights, really. And then first main event for Norma, all that kind of thing. It was smart of her to not have a kick heavy offense, Steve. Like, and you noticed that in the first, like, I think it was 3 rounds. She threw a couple, especially as the fight went on
because
towards
she
the
didn't want to get tied
second
up
half.
and get taken down.
Yeah, not going to throw something out there for a potential takedown, which Lad probably wouldn't even have caught on to anyways, because she just wasn't having a good night. But, you know, Norma didn't even want to bother trying, which is very smart. And
Not
actually,
when your grab is working that the way that it was.
right. Yeah.
Why
No,
would you?
And then if you compare that to Marina, who was gambling against Mackenzie Dern, like there's different ways to look at it where, you know, I guess how safe you want to play it and all that, but it is what it is. They both got the win, obviously, Norma and Marina, going back to last week, but yeah, it worked. So
yeah,
what's she gonna do?
She had an interview. I did see the interview with ESPN Okamoto. She mentioned Holly Holm.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the fight, but she was kind of beefing with Holly. She was like, I don't know what's wrong with you or whatever, but let's go.
I think that she probably just honestly really wanted that fight, because obviously beating Holly is, like, to the casual audience, is much better for her. Yeah, for her popularity and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, missing out on it, she was prepared for that, all that kind of thing. And I think it's smart of her to do that, because you think about it, who knows when Nunes will be back? She still has to, you know, go beat up Juliana Pena real quick, but you don't know when she'd be ready for stuff like that. And I honestly, I've said this for a while since Norma's been around, but like, I mean, the UFC's been pushing around as is, but I don't want her to be fast tracked. You know, like, she does not need to get thrown to Nunes just yet. Even though, of course, her confidence is growing clearly in that, for that matchup, but you don't need to do it. And I hate to see people be like, "Oh, I guess she's getting the title shot." Yeah, featherweight isn't a division, so if you think about it that way, sure. But
that's another thing that she said. She said, "Let's go, girls. Let's fucking fight at 145." So
well, yeah, because she doesn't want to, like I said, be pushed around and, you know, fuck up her body anymore.
Yeah, it seems like she wants to stay at 145, and she wants that division and all that. She wants fights at 145.
Yeah,
I don't think that her tree trunk ass can take 135. To be honest,
not anymore, because she started her career there. Let's not forget,
right?
Her featherweight debut was in the against Megan when she came over. So
that's right.
She's been there before, but obviously it's a lot for her to go back and forth. So that was the thing she was saying to me was, if she could just stick to doing one, if she was like, all right, the only option's bantamweight, she could take time to, you know, get her body prepared for that only. But to do both, stop it. Stop that shit.
So Syndicate has done very well for her. The PI is obviously doing well for her. I like what I'm seeing from Norma Dumont. I really do.
You coming on board? Joining me?
Been on board. I've always been on that dunk train. But I mean, even more now because of how highly I think about Aspen Ladd. You know, I think that this was a bad time fight. You know, 2 years off. She's had ups and downs, you know, health issues. She missed weight badly last time out, and that was only a week ago. You know, like there's a whole lot going on there with Aspen Ladd. Who was out for a couple of years, and it took them a couple of fights to get their groove back. Who was it? Not a woman. It was a male. Can't.
After an injury? Is that what you're saying?
After being out, I don't know. Being out for a couple of years, I can't think of who it is.
Yeah, I mean, probably a couple that would fit that, but yeah, is what it is. Yeah. All right, there he is, Steve. Here he is.
Alvin.
Good evening, gentlemen. He says, what an incredible card where all the fighters showcase their skills. I love me some Alvin Yakitori, ladies and gentlemen. This is my guy. Appreciate you so much, sir. Thank you for better late than never, so thanks so much. Ghost agrees, man. You gotta love Alvin. Well, Joseph, he mentions Dominic Cruz. I mean,
No, I think that's probably who it was.
but he came back right away because he's the man. He's the greatest ever. So that's that's
No.
why I didn't think of him.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't Dominic Cruz. I don't know. I don't know who the hell I'm thinking about, Drake. Maybe this is a mythical fighter.
Right. Somebody to compete with Ghost's mythical fighter.
Right. No idea who this guy is.
That's hilarious.
All I know is it's not a woman. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well. So that was UFC Vegas 40. I'm sure you guys are all very happy to be done talking about that now, obviously. But hey, I, again, didn't watch the full card, but out of those fights, I didn't hate them. Of course, they weren't the best fights ever, but that happens. So on that same night, we did have more action, though, as I mentioned, because I was in Phoenix for Bellator 268, where, my goodness, Steve, I don't know if you caught that card much, but that was some fireworks all across that thing. Only like 4 decisions.
I watched Nemkov.
Oh, as you do. And I'll tell you right now, I almost lost my mind.
I also watched Corey Anderson.
Yeah. I was freaking out cage side watching him almost get knocked out. That was crazy.
Nemkov?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. If he would have gotten finished. So, did you see? I know we're talking about women's fighting or whatever.
Yes.
But did you see Jan Blachowicz come at Nemkov a little bit? Ooh.
It was kind of more at Corey, I think.
Oh, no. It was Corey. That's what I meant. That's some spicy shit from Jan. You don't see trash talk from Jan.
I know. He got bothered by that one.
I like it.
Well, also at the same time, I mean, all week, I even asked Corey when I talked to him, I was like, who do you think's going to win that fight? And he picks Glover. Like, he's all kind of opposite of everything Jan, which is kind of funny.
Right. They clearly do not like each other.
They're 1-1. They are 1-1. All right. So before we get to Bellator 268, Joseph is asking, can you guys please explain to me what Tate's issue is with Ladd? Did you see her tweets and if she's overlooking Ketlin? No to the second part. Don't worry about that. I think she's just honestly annoyed by that situation,
and stuff like that.
Seeing that lack of professionalism.
Yeah, I agree. That's
really all
I agree. That's what I think it is. Whether Misha is right or wrong, that's probably what it is. And she's very opinionated, by the way. I don't know if you guys have listened to her Sirius XM show with Raquel Paquette. That's a very good. That's actually a really good. Show.
Renee is awesome as a person.
She knows her shit, man. Whether it's combat sports or wrestling or even pop culture or whatever, she's a very in tune woman.
Yes,
I like that girl a lot. Indeed. She makes that show. And Misha's just there.
I haven't watched a full episode yet or anything, but yeah, they seem like a good combo.
They do. They're good. They're very good together. Yeah, but Misha throws opinions like fucking crazy.
Hey, they're just chatting. We all got them. And Rue, good point here. He says Jim West keeps saying that Tate ducked Ladd. Yeah, sure, she's a little bit annoyed by that as well. Just hey, it is what it is. But all right, let's get back to Bellator. And Scott asking, how was the atmosphere at the Bellator card? It looked like a full house on TV. Yes, it was pretty packed early on. Like it got to about at least 50%, like maybe around the fourth fight. Like they filled in pretty quick, which was very nice. But honestly, it was, in terms of like energy, probably the weakest Bellator card I've ever been at. And I've been to like 6 or 7 now. And yeah, like main event time, I think it was just because in Phoenix, I guess, of all places, Nemkov and Gliskas aren't the most popular guys. So they weren't like as crazy as if you think about any of the shows we've seen, Steve. Like
Well,
energy was pretty low for this one. And then I mean, right before that, Bader, their
Benson,
hometown boy,
Bader,
they got
Benson, Bader. They
yeah.
both lost right before Nemkov came on, who is a phenomenal champion. He needs the love, but yes, Bader and Benson Henderson lost right before,
took the
so
steam out
that
of
kind of cut out the fans, love for what they were seeing a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean they were hyped for those guys. So yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that. So but yeah, just compared to most main events, that was definitely the weakest one I've ever been to. But still a fun card overall, that's for sure. Rue asks, did I get to meet Henry Cejudo even though you hate him for KOing Dominic Cruz? I don't hate him for knocking out Dominic. I hate Keith Peterson for not letting him continue.
Everybody hates
But
Keith Peterson.
I didn't directly meet Henry, but yeah, I was around him a little bit, especially
Little guy.
at the end of the night. Yeah, yeah. So I was around him a little bit, but didn't like say hi or anything. Yeah, little guy for sure, but Triple C. All right. So yes, Joseph just mentioned Maria Henderson there, who kicked off the night, Steven. Holy shit, what a way to do it.
Yeah. She beat Colette Santiago, first round rear naked choke, 40 seconds into the fight. Not a whole lot there other than a rear naked choke.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the fight started off, she gets off balance with like a stumble, like defends a punch a little bit, but just off balance, fell down, then followed to the ground, and they scramble a bit and locks it in. Pretty nice and easy. Colette did not even hand fight, nothing, just kind of let it happen. That's what happens with amateurs, I guess. But hey, Maria Henderson, great killer instinct there. And especially to show that kind of after her debut in LFA, Steve, remember that fight, like that went to decision, and she looks completely different in this one, and surely fueled by the fact that she was fighting with her husband and in Arizona. Like she's also hometowner because of that, obviously training at the lab, all that kind of thing. So she performed exactly how you would hope to in this situation. So perfect performance.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think she's ready to fight again in like a month.
Yeah, 0 damage taken. So
she seemed hyped and all that, and later on her husband lost, but I mean, this was about her, I guess.
Yeah, definitely fair to say that. So yeah, I mean, that was that fight. That's pretty much all there is to it. So yeah, I guess we'll just move right on. Congrats to Maria. She's a fun personality. Getting to speak with her a little bit as well.
Yeah,
so.
She talks a little bit more than Benson does. That's for damn sure. She's the talker out of the two.
Yeah, that is fair. But all right, in the other fight, this fight was quite fun though, for as long as it lasted. A little bit longer than the other one, but action-packed, Steve.
Yeah, I didn't watch this fight, but Sumiko Inaba beat Randy Field, arm triangle in the second round. I saw the highlight though; it looked really nice. The arm triangle looked really, really nice.
Yeah, no,
did it come quick?
Like the tap, or
no? Did the arm triangle come pretty fast?
Yeah, I mean, she latched it on kind of about as quickly as soon as they got to the ground. But yeah, no, this was a very fun fight. Randy got dropped at the end of the second round pretty hard. I think it was an elbow. Like, Sumiko, man, this is somebody to watch at this great flyweight division. That's 3 finishes now for her. And, Randy put up a good fight early on, was coming at her, did not look rusty at all. That's kind of the theme of this night between UFC and Bellator, isn't it? Potential rust. But she did not show that at all. I think she looked solid out there, but kind of wasn't able to adapt to those combos and see that head kick coming, as you can see in the picture there from Sumiko. And ultimately, I don't think that cost her, but she hadn't been out in the ring since 2019. So sounds like she looks to get back in there soon and stay active, which is good. But Sumiko Inaba is looking very good, and I'm excited to see what's next for her flyweight. Scott Coker was pretty impressed, so maybe she can, get a good step up. We'll see, but she's finishing, man.
It'd be cool to see her fight in Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
but I don't think that Bellator is going there anytime soon because I think they have. I think Bellator or I think Hawaii has hard restrictions right now.
Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure it's still
They do.
kind of a
Yeah.
struggle there. And I get that for islands of all places. Like you can't really escape each other, so you really don't
Yeah.
want the COVIDs and all that. So hopefully that can fix itself soon. But yeah, Sumiko, very
How
good.
cool
And
would it be to see her and Alima?
yeah, that would definitely be very cool. Could not go wrong there. Um, yeah, maybe one day, maybe for when Alima returns, who knows? Even though I'd imagine it would be sooner than
Yeah.
maybe Hawaii can, be open to that. So
Yeah.
I think this was Sumiko's first submission. She's really good at finding those TKOs, but yeah, excited to see what's next for her show. That was Bellator 268, you guys, and I see you're all arguing about or not arguing, but bringing up the commentary as
I
every
think
single
they're.
time happens.
I think they're agreeing that. I mean, what we've said in just about every show that we cover for Bellator, we. I mute. I mute the
You mute
commentary.
everything.
I can't. I can't take it. I cannot take Bellator's commentary. Can't do it.
Well, we've gotten into that more times than we need to now, so we'll move on. So good stuff, though, from Bellator overall, not just the ladies. Pretty fun night of action. It was good to be around the fine folk at Bellator, too. For the first time since January 2020, pre-pandemic, I hadn't seen all the boys and fighters and whatnot. Shameless plug, also caught up with Julia Budd, who was there for Lance Gibson Jr., and what an animal that guy is. That was some violent stuff he did.
Did he end up winning?
Yeah, he lost the first round, pretty much got laid on, and then just assassinated the poor guy afterwards. Raymond Pena got a knee up the middle and then locked his arm behind his back in a really weird way and just elbow punches, violence, man. So check that one out. Lance Gibson Jr. still undefeated. And check out my Julia Budd interview as well. Shameless
He's
plug.
a good fighter.
Yeah, good people to have in his corner, that's for sure.
Yeah, so. I mean, obviously, yeah.
But all right, so that is all the action from the past week. Good 50 minutes to cover it all. So news time. And I broke one of the stories to Steve right before we went on air, so that was fun. Didn't get his live reaction. I'm sorry, but hey, I didn't know. But here we go. Time for the news. Just 2 bits to address. I guess technically 2.5, 3, but we grouped those into one. So we'll start off with this one at flyweight.
Yeah, Aaron Blanchfield will replace Montana De La Rosa against Macy Barber at UFC 269. That's a great fight, man. I love it. I love that Blanchfield wanted that fight and is stepping in, and Macy said yes. Love this fight, man.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think from a stylistic standpoint, it is very fun indeed.
Fun.
And apparently Casey O'Neill turned it down. Apparently she was the first one they went to.
Really? I didn't see that.
Which is interesting.
Maybe because
I think she said why. But I didn't see why she said.
What was the reason? Oh, you didn't see why.
Yeah. But the thing about this fight that some people, I've kind of talked to about is like, man, does this mean potentially, if Blanchfield wins, which she probably will, if we're going to be honest, we all love Aaron Blanchfield here. She's cold-blooded, but does that, then she's going to get fast-tracked, isn't she, Steve? Like that kind of sucks.
Yeah, Macy's that name, if she beats Macy in like a vicious way, which she very possibly can, she definitely gets fast-tracked. Yes, I agree with that. But also, the flip side, if Macy beats Aaron Blanchfield, great win for Macy.
Right. Yeah, no, and being able to be the official first person to defeat Aaron Blanchfield. Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. But, that would be a good feather in the cap for sure. But Rue, though, he's like, so is this an easy win for Blanchfield? I don't know if I'd say easy, but my early prediction, yes, is Aaron Erin Blanchfield. I'm so incredibly high on her. I think she's arguably might be the best prospect in the whole sport. We'll get to the other person I put up there.
Shit.
She is very talented. I think that if I was to give a quick, preview of this fight, it's gonna be, if Macy starts out slow like she has in these last like 2 or 3 fights, she's gonna be in trouble. She always comes on very strong and good in the third round, generally wins the third round, right? Like always. But you're gonna get beat up or submitted early by Blanchfield if you're gonna be that way in this fight. So I definitely favor Erin in this one. But we'll see. We'll see. So James, James is asking, are these two, and it's going to be kind of her hometown a little bit, New York, New Jersey area. James says, are these two going to run at each other, and whenever one tries to counter, they both run away? No, that is not going to be the case, sir.
I don't think Blanchfield's that type of fighter.
No. And I mean, we kind of saw that in the last fight. We've seen her whole career. We knew that wasn't the case, but Jimmy says Macy Barber was like PVZ, low risk fight, but high notoriety. I don't know if that applies to this one, but I kind of get what he's saying.
I understand what he's saying, but I think that Macy's better than Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Paige Van Zandt is doing great in AEW, though.
No. We got it wrong. We got it mixed up here. He's saying that for Blanchfield, Macy is a low risk fight but high notoriety. I think that's a lot fairer. Yeah, that's perfectly said.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I said. Is Macy's a very good name for Erin Blanchfield to win, and if she finishes her, even better. She skyrockets.
Yeah. Funny exchange here in the chat from Rain, who asks, Macy likes to throw elbows, so does that get a Ghost seal of approval? And Ghost just replies with no. So there you have it. But
he doesn't like Macy elbows.
No. I mean, she throws some fucking hellacious elbows. I'll give her that much.
She does.
She's in tight. They are nasty.
We can say what we want about Macy Barber, whatever. But she's actually not a terrible fighter, man. Like she has skill, and she's tough as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at who she lost to, like you said, people give her all the shit in the world for saying she wanted to be the youngest champion and all that. Of course, you'd want to, but she lost to Roxy, Alexa Grasso, and she did lose to Miranda Maverick. We're gonna be honest; those are all very good fighters. Those are very good,
very good, very good, very very good losses.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I mentioned, in 2 of those, the last 2, she came back and won the third rounds. So she has that ability to turn it up. But in this fight, I don't think she can wait. I don't think which is funny because before she lost to Roxy, she was very aggressive, Steve. So I don't know if it was, the injury that changed her or changing a team alpha male. That's also a part of it, but going to have to fix that for this one. Blanchfield is not going to let you breathe early on. So, yeah, that will be quite an interesting one. UFC 269, December 11th, looking pretty fun. Oh, wait a minute. No, yeah, that is okay. No, 268. I got this wrong, didn't I? 269 is in Vegas. Sorry, everybody.
Abu Dhabi.
No, that one's in Vegas. That's the Nunes Pena card. Yeah. All right, ignore that. But either way, yeah, fun fight. All right. With that in mind, we get to the news that surprised Steve, which curious to see everyone else's thoughts on it. Going to be a good one in Japan, in Okinawa.
Rena is back. It's my new Yamamoto at RIZIN 32. Man, I can't wait. It's been a long time for Rena to come back. We were wondering if she was ever going to come back, and here she is. She's back. Look how beautiful that is. That picture there. I love it. Can't wait to see Rena fight again. Cannot wait.
Yeah. And I haven't I've been so busy I haven't been able to confirm or not or ask around if this is the main event, but I think it is. I think that this is the main event.
No idea. Didn't even know that it was fucking happening.
I'm pretty sure. I haven't checked around or anything, but I think that it is the main event. I mean, this is a rematch. You know, Miyu's debut in MMA was against Reina, if you remember correctly, and now she is a much better fighter. So this fight should be way better than the first one because I think Reina ended up getting an armbar. I think that's how she beat her the first time, round 1 or 2. But I'd be surprised if that same thing happens again. Of course, this is still striker versus wrestler kind of thing, shoot boxer versus wrestler. But Miyu she is a real fighter now, not just a wrestler. So this should be pretty fun, Steve. I mean, Reina had some trouble with Tommy Matsu last time out. It's going to be competitive.
I look forward to seeing Reina back.
Yeah, got to enjoy her while she's around.
So it's been a long time. You know, she's talked about maybe not fighting ever again and all that, and don't want that to happen. So happy that she's back. Cannot wait for this fight.
Yeah. And again, if
literally one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But like I said, if this is the main event, then that could maybe even be more reason to think maybe this will be her last fight. Who knows? We'll see. Don't want to say necessarily, but New Year's Eve is coming up too. If she is to win and not take too much damage, who knows? But again, this is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy for her. It'll be very fun. It'll be very fun. And Jin chiming in saying he'd rather see Reina versus Panchan in a kickboxing fight, even though Reina would probably starch that beautiful face. I don't know. The distance control of Panchan can make it interesting. That length, who knows? But of course, that is the kickboxing super fight. Jin, you were right about that. We'll see. But Reina hasn't done too much starching recently, you guys. I see everyone hopping on here. Jimmy says Reina gonna get a body shot KO. James says Miyu, that poor girl. Come on, you guys, listen up here. Like she's only lost to Hamasaki.
Give me all that goodness
recently.
That's what Drake's saying. No. We're all in on Reina, right? Come on, give me that.
There
shit.
You. The baddest grandma in all of the world. All right, put some respect on Miyu. This is another one though. Where like, man, I love the fight, but I hate that one has to lose. That sucks.
I don't. I want fucking Reina to win.
All right.
Literally don't care how it happens. Just want Reina to win this fight.
You're not alone. That's for sure. But in other news related to this, as you can see on the ticker there, Mizuki Nisei Oshiro is also planned to have her debut on this card. And I know it says TBD, but I know who she's fighting. Can't quite tell you just yet. But as for that bit of news, Steve, with Nisei and RIZIN, I'm very surprised by that because, as you know, she's been in Deep Jewels, I think, her whole career. She just got that win over Feruse on the last. They main evented the last card. Feruse coming back after becoming a mother. Pretty impressive win for Nisei. One she needed after losing in the atomweight tournament. She's like 3-4 right now. Has shown potential by being able to beat Satoko Shinashi the way she did a couple years ago, I think 2019. But we've seen that like all the other hot prospects, Oshima, Park, Aono, you name them, they're all like better than her. So it's kind of interesting. I think she's from Okinawa and kind of popular there, which probably explains it. But I was surprised to see that they were bringing her in before, let's say, the people we're actually about to talk about next. So, hey, I'm all for more atom weights in RIZIN. But, yeah, that was interesting to me. So we'll see how it goes. For her. So that's the news, you guys. And now it is time to get to all the fights we got coming up this weekend. We have, what did you say, 4 cards, Steve? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. I thought there was 5 for a second. I was like, how many do we have?
I think it's 4, right?
Yeah, you're right. 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights. All right. Let's kick it off, though. I just mentioned ladies who I thought would have maybe gotten RIZIN before Nisei. Deep Impact 104 is this weekend, Steve, and we only got one fight to talk about, and boy, is it a doozy. Sekizawa in Siwoo Park. At atomweight, of course, Sekizawa, the strawweight champion of Deep Jewels. Siwoo Park, atomweight prospect, hot contender who got submitted by the now champion Sari Oshima in the tournament. She has a win over Oshima as well, but made it 1-1. Now they're going against each other on Big Deep, Steve, not on Deep Jewels. We're doing this one, doing it right. Deep 104 Impact. Going to be quite a good show overall. That card's pretty loaded. A little bit of striker grappler again. Expect Sayaka Izawa to have the size edge here. She is an absolute phenom. This was the other person I was talking about next to Erin Blanchfield for being the 2 best prospects in the sport. Overall, she is a phenom, but Siwoo Park is very talented as well. Very good kickboxing background. She's actually fought Pan Chan, did not beat Pan Chan, but has some very nice knockouts. Very good knockout power for an atomweight, right, Steve? I mean, that Aono one, what was that? 2 years ago, roughly. Very good stuff there. Older by 7 years, as you can see. They're both 5'2". I didn't realize Seka was actually that short. That's kind of interesting. Maybe the atomweight won't be too bad for her because, like I said, a strawweight up until this point. And yeah, Siwoo trains with Team Mad, but she's been in Japan with Crazy B and training with Miyu actually, and Itsuki Hirata. So not bad training partners to have for her in Japan, but now in this one. So, yep, as everybody is mentioning here. Well, James first says, hopefully this weekend isn't as bad as the last 2 weeks. Rain says, Seka probably takes his girl down and arm bars her. Sintro says, easy win for Seka. Ru says, Seka is going to have a field day. When is Seka versus Iori happening? Oh, boy. Don't get me. Got me ready for that.
Everybody's on this Seka.
Yeah, totally fair. And Jin says, padding Izawa's record. So sad. Not quite, Jin.
I don't know if that's padding, right?
Disagree with you on that one.
Padding. This is an MVP type shit.
No. Siwoo Park is one of the best atomweights in the world as well. Yeah. She lost to Oshima in a fight that she knocked down Oshima before Oshima did her thing there.
I don't think that you guys are giving Siwoo Park enough credit, guys.
Definitely not. Like, yeah, as I mentioned, both of them, well, Park at least, because she's been in atomweight before. Yeah. This is Seka's debut at atomweight. Park should be in RIZIN already. And, Oshima on her way there as well. So, yeah, not padding whatsoever, but this is definitely more of a striker grappler contest. Again, a clash like that. Seka still learning the way of the strike, if you will. Her bread and butter is clearly on the ground. She is a savage on the ground. And her last time we saw her was that grappling match where she and Aono beat. It was pretty much the Izawa show by herself, submitting Tamimatsu and Mika Nagano. Incredible. 2 serious veterans that she just cut through like butter, which shows you all you need to know about her grappling. And then her win over Miki Matono in the title fight was one of my favorite submissions of this year, probably. Just the way that she whipped into that thing. So yeah, if this goes to the ground, it's going to be over real quick. But if she gets clipped, which is possible, going to be trouble.
Park has great striking.
Yes, indeed. And Chuck is here. Good to see because he's got some good insights. He says Park has some ground deficiencies. Yes, but Izawa hasn't faced a striker as good as Park before. Yeah, exactly. It is exactly that case. So that's why it's so fun. And then the atomweight thing where Sek is going down. And that's just an indication of the winner for sure is coming to RIZIN for their next fight, which you love to see. But I would love to see Sayaka defend that title still. But hey, it is what it is. She is very, very good. Ghost says Siwoo is not a bin man like the people. Tin can, I'm assuming you meant to say, or bobblehead, like the people MVP fought the last 7 years. Thank you. Yeah, Jin, put some respect on Park.
Exactly.
But
that's literally what I just said.
Yeah. So I know, great comparison. But man, obviously, I think everybody, for the most part, who knows about Sekizawa has seen just what insane talent she has for being still just 23 years old. So by default, it's going to be a little bit hard for me to jump off the train and go Park in this one, because she's got so many ways to wrap things up. Once any little window, she jumps through it and gets the submission when it's there. So I think she'll find a way again. I'm very excited for this one, see how it plays out on the feet for as long as it's there, because I promise you that Sayaka is going to try and get to the ground. She's not going to fight stupidly. Similar to Oshima, which is why I like that somebody mentioned that earlier. That was Rue. So yeah, I got to take Izawa in this one. I think she probably will find the first round submission. But again, Park is no can by any means whatsoever. She is very legit. But
you're also doubting Park. First round submission?
I mean, that's just how good Sayaka is, man. You gonna take the striker?
So you were giving. Yeah. I actually think that Park probably gets a knockout.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. I think her striking's clean, man. She's very good. Ghost should probably do one on Park.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah, hey, that would not surprise me at all. But I've just been so impressed with Sayaka's recent stretch, and then to see that if you look at the last fight specifically,
she's super young, man.
Yeah, the Oshima rematch, which is Siwoo Park's last loss. When she dropped her, hurt her there, and followed her to the ground, wasn't a good idea. So I mean, maybe she'll have learned from that, in this fight.
Yeah.
Because if she does that, same thing's probably going to happen where she gets caught again. So, because that was an armbar as well. So
yeah.
All right.
It's clear one's better than the other in striking and on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. A little bit like Adam Waite's version of Dern and Rodriguez to an extent. So fun little throwback there. Cannot wait for that fight, though. That is on the 23rd. So what is that? Friday, Saturday? That'll be our Friday in America, I believe. I know.
I don't even know.
We're on Monday, Steve. Come on now. Didn't have to change the schedule.
I knew the day, didn't know the date.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what, the 18th, I think? Yeah.
18th, yeah.
All right.
I checked and verified that it was indeed the 18th.
So that is the lone fight for Deep 104 Impact out of the ladies, unless I missed one. But that's the big one anyway. So can't wait for that. How dare you, Rue? My goodness, you guys.
He's being a dick.
I cannot believe some of y'all.
That made me laugh. I had to put it up there.
Yeah, right. But
so they were on one last week.
Yes, they were. My goodness, there's Jin too. But from Japan, we go to Poland, Steve, for KSW 64.
I forgot that was this week.
This is a loaded week of MMA. Yeah. Headlined by Pujanowski and Bombardier. Fingers crossed that those two man mountains get to collide.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yes. And shameless plugs. Pat and I here on the Scrap, we did a little preview for that fight. If you want to go check it out, talk all about the big men slapping man meatness all over the place. As Big E would say.
This shit's going to be wild for as long as it lasts.
Yeah.
Somebody's fucking dying in that fight, right?
Unless it looks like Bob Sapp and Osunarashi, which
come on.
I hope not. I shouldn't have said that. But before that,
It was like the worst fight ever.
oh yes. Before that, though, we have the return of one of my favorite prospects as well.
Yeah. I didn't even know that it was on this weekend. Like, honestly.
Yeah, Karolina Avchaj versus Sylvia Zhuskovic at a 123-pound catchweight. So that was the interesting thing, Steve, was when this fight was announced, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I knew that Karolina was wanting to drop to strawweight, and that's why her last fight against Kuchnich was at like 119, I think. Or maybe it was below. It was some catchweight again. So like she wanted to work her way down slowly, but like quickly by not having to make a huge body transformation. And she looked great in doing it, and KSW allowed her to do it. But here we are again. I don't know what's up with that. I've been trying to track down Karolina, but it's fight week now, so maybe we'll wait till after, depending on how it goes. But
Was this fight originally booked as a catchweight?
yeah, I think that was that's what I was getting at. So it is what it is, I guess. But either way, Zhuskovic, Avchaj, I believe that this is Sylvia's KSW debut. No, her last fight was a year ago exactly against Karolina Wojcik. I remember that one actually. I just did not realize that was KSW. And then you go back, if you remember, she was in that fantastic RIZIN atomweight tournament where she lost to Kana Sakura, as everybody did, literally, because she won it. And now here we are years later, and she's back home taking on Karolina, who does have her boxing background, but has shown off the jits very nicely in her career to this point. Her only loss is to Justina Haba. No shame in that one. Haba's very good as well. But yeah, it's so funny when you see kind of those strikers get right into MMA and then they look much less like strikers, because that's the complete case of Karolina, who has been a very strong grappler in her career. So taking on her most experienced opponent yet in Sylvia, who's looking to rebound. And yeah, because some good stank on her shots as well, as Ghost said earlier for Norma, but Sylvia the same. And still, a decent prospect. It's funny to say that Karolina is the better prospect of the two when she's actually a year older and less experienced, but that's just the case. Karolina's been very good, very marketable in many, many ways. A very fun personality, has that kind of star quality to her. KSW obviously sees that as well. But
I kind of think that they both are marketable, though. Like it doesn't really matter which one wins in KSW's eyes, probably.
I mean, maybe to an extent. And I guess if we're going to go by latest weight right there, maybe it was a 117 catch weight last time, or 118. I knew it was something like that. But she was wanting to go down to strawweight. But I mean, if you remember, or those who know about Karolina, when she stopped boxing, she got into like media. Like she was a reporter and did a lot of TV stuff, actually. So that's where I think, the personality and marketability shines through. Like she speaks very well, great on camera. I mean, I think KSW loves her, but it's interesting because, they've never really been a promotion to focus on strawweights, but Karolina, maybe she wants to, really pursue something elsewhere. Who knows? That's why this fight will be interesting, and if she can continue to climb and go from here. But
it's nice to see KSW come back with women's fights again, because for a while there they weren't doing them.
Yeah,
after Lipsky left.
Yeah, a little bit of a down period.
Yeah,
but yeah, Karolina kind of carrying that flag, at least lately. I don't remember the last time we talked about KSW. Maybe her last fight could have been the last one we talked about. So she's getting all the shine.
I think
there.
it is actually.
Against Kuchnich. I mean,
they've only had 2 fights or 2 fight cards
4 months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't. They just started back up again.
Mm-hmm. So Rain is asking, what should we expect out of these two? A striking match of epic proportions. I mean, it's possible. It is possible, but
Striker versus grappler.
yeah. But like I said, the funny thing is, Carolina has that boxing background, but she has proven to be much more of a grappler in MMA. So, and she's smartly utilized it. So I think that she'll probably strike for a good bit, Rain, but she is very comfortable on the ground. And I think she'll look to take it there. Not as quickly as she can, but relatively quickly, unless she just starts styling on Jushkovich, we'll see. But who knows? I think the big story will obviously be if Jushkovich can keep her off of her, because that's been an area she's kind of struggled in, as you can have seen in her last fight against Wojcik. And then, of course, Kana had success getting her down because it's Kana. But yeah, with that in mind, I am gonna, of course, go with Carolina Josh. I believe in her. She is a very good prospect. This would be a big one for her in terms of, notoriety on the opponent's side.
Yeah.
Just has a more complete game, I think. And as she continues to adapt to trying to go to a lower weight class and living this healthier lifestyle, or whatever you want to call it, she was in great shape last time. So I expect her to keep on keeping on. And
she's probably the better fighter out of the two.
Yeah, but not easy to finish Jushkovich, so that's where I'm a little tied up. Should be pretty back and forth overall, but I think she'll edge it out, get it done. Unanimous decision for the Shark Top team. Formerly, I believe she's not there anymore, but she used to be at Shark Top team, training with Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who I know Steve loves a whole bunch.
Adore her to pieces.
Yes. And Carolina has trained with Joanna before as well, but obviously not recently, I don't think. But yeah. I don't know about any crotch pointing, Rue. Good throwback to last week. some flaccid jabs. I see you guys talking about all that fun stuff. But yeah, I think Carolina, I'll go unanimous decision in this one. Steve, yeah, agree with me there?
Yeah, same. Go unanimous for Carolina. I think she's the better, well-rounded fighter. She's been in less fights, but I think she's still better.
Yeah, and she's performed well even in that loss to Haba, Haba's very good as well.
Yeah, that's just a tough fight.
Yeah,
I actually think that this is probably an easier fight than the Haba fight.
Yeah, no, I think Haba would probably beat Jushkovich as well. So
yeah, yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys remember, Kana couldn't even finish Haba, so there's that.
Yeah, Haba's good, man.
Yeah,
where's she at?
Yeah, I know, right? Come on, KSW, or anybody, sign that girl.
Yeah, anybody actually.
All right, so that was KSW 64. You guys cannot wait for that card. Great, always a great lead-in is KSW into UFC fights. Yep, I was waiting for it. I triggered it. Kana Army and Kana We Stand. Thank you. It's been a while since we've got.
They kind of took a while to
the flag waving. I know.
Yeah, it didn't get started quickly.
Shame on you guys. Slipping. But yeah, KSW 64. Great lead in as always.
Oh, that
to UFC Vegas 41.
That main event.
Gonna be
beefy.
Something. Literally.
Yeah, those are some men of men.
No doubt. But all right, UFC Vegas 41 going on right after that show in Poland, taking place.
Literally, it's crazy. I love it. I love how KSW is on early morning, kind of mid morning for us, strike, and then leads right into the UFC fights.
Yeah, literally,
I mean, how it happens every time.
It's always a great way to spend a Saturday of face punching. A whole lot this week, you guys, as we're only getting to the halfway mark here. But kicking things off with what I believe is the very first fight of the night, and that's a little bit surprising to me, lineup-wise, considering the names in the fight. But Steve, this could be a loser leaves town fight.
Yeah, Olivia Renata Souza versus Randa Marcos. This was supposed to be on another card, wasn't it?
I mean, they were supposed to fight
Fight
like
before.
a year or so ago, but it just never
Yeah,
happened. So
and then I think that Souza needs to show out. Marcos is, you know, she's very good, but she's probably going to lose.
ooh, man, this one is so tricky for me from the perspective of, Randa's been one of my all-time favorites and I'm good with her and all that, and have really supported her a lot through the years. And obviously on a rough patch now, but she's been fighting some very talented individuals.
Yeah,
And then Olivia, I've been a big supporter of hers as well, telling everyone that she is one of the best in the world. And then she just has really not showed that in the UFC. And then the last fight, of course, she got knocked out by Lemos. Just incredible stuff from Lemos in that one. Did not see that coming.
yeah, but I mean, it happens.
It happens. And now here we are. Souza actually favored. So, but very, very close, as you can see. Plus 105, minus 130.
Those losses for Randa look bad. L L L
Yeah.
L.
Well, there was the Pinero DQ, which that one is just what it is. Kanako, of course. Dern, one of the most boneheaded decisions ever. Hibas, that is what it is. It's been rough for Randa, that's for sure. But, I mean, training in Texas now with Travis Luter, Kevin Holland, all the boys and girls down at I don't remember what they call their team there in Texas, but getting a lot of good looks down there, and Randa seemed very happy with them going into the last fight. So for this one again, I'm sure she's been enjoying the time, and we'll see. We didn't really get to see too much of maybe anything she's been working on in that last fight because she got tossed around a bit and then landed an up kick. So that was pretty much how the Pinero fight went. So yeah, in this one, I don't expect her to get judo tossed all over the place by Olivia because that's not quite what Olivia does. But of course, BJJ black belt, very good at finding a submission. We have seen that she has hands on her stunningly. In hindsight, Olivia knocked out Ayaka Hamasaki. Crazy to think about that. But she did it. So she does have power when she connects. At least she used to.
That was a while ago, though. That was so
Yeah,
long.
at least
It
she
feels like.
used to. So, I think that Randa's wrestling against Livia's BJJ, I think it should be good enough to not get submitted, but it just depends on kind of the approach, right? Like if she can
They
really
probably won't get
drag
to
her.
the ground.
You don't think this fight will be much of a grappling fight?
Probably not.
Well, then who do you give the edge to in that case?
I think that Souza is stronger and she has the knockout power, but
Mm-hmm.
Marcos is kind of a wild woman a little bit, and she goes in a little bit crazy and very tough for her opponents. Um, at least she used to be. Not maybe not recently. That sucks. But I don't know. Souza should be able to keep Marcos away from her because Marcos is going to want to come in, right?
Yeah, you would
That's what she
think.
does. That's what she does.
Yeah, yeah, I know it'll be. I think that lately in Randa's career, and obviously it hasn't paid off in these last four necessarily, but tried to focus more on herself more than anything, which in these kind of matchups can hurt her because if she plays to her strengths and tries to get the fight down, and then is gambling in that position of
Yeah.
putting yourself in the fire of potential submissions. But again, Olivia has not showing off those submissions outside of the Chambers fight, which that's when she showed up. And one of the most silliest matchmaking fights of the last 5 years or so. It's a tough one to call. I really, and I love me a fighter with their back against the wall, Steve. 4 losses in a row. That's about as back against the wall as you can possibly be. That's some serious motivation.
I mean, you see a lot of fighters get cut after 2 and 3.
Yeah, for much less, and of course, trickier kind of situation maybe with the DQ and all that. But if
yeah, true, the DQ.
I don't know. I think I lean towards Randa in this one, man. I think I'm flipping on my my support of Olivia.
Okay.
It's just been a little bit not the best lately.
It's too rocky. It's very rocky. Yeah. There's highs and then there's really bad lows with her.
Yeah.
Which one are we gonna get? It's tough. It's tough to predict these type of fights because we don't know. We literally Randa hasn't been doing as well as she should be lately, and then Souza is just peaks and valleys. Lots of peaks and valleys with her. It's hard to gauge this fight. It should be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, Randa fights are generally pretty entertaining.
I'm probably with you on Marcos, but Souza should be able to win the fight. But I think that Marcos is the better fighter, which is weird when you look at
this stage.
4 losses in a row, right? But I think that's what it is. I think that Marcos is the better fighter, so she should win.
In that case, how does she get it done?
Probably decision. I don't see this.
Yeah, for her to submit Olivia, that'd be crazy. I
don't see anybody getting knocked out or submitting either one.
Yeah. And real quick, since you're saying, he mentions so mad that Souza beat Hamasaki, that makes Hamasaki lost to her look worse since how good Hamasaki is. That was, if you want to put it, prime Souza and at 115 pounds. So
yeah,
just to play devil's advocate, but
kind of a lady killer at that point. Souza was.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was kind of, at that time, that's why whatever got everybody to believe she was a top 10, like around the 10 range strawweight in the world, and it was fair to say. So
yeah,
that's why it's been tough.
She was literally ranked.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm gonna agree with you for this one. Probably decision for Randa.
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if it's split unanimous. Not gonna really be specific there, but I think she'll get it done. It's a tough one. This is a tough one.
It should be entertaining though, because I mean, let's be honest. What Randa Marcos fight isn't entertaining?
Yeah, very rarely does she have some bad ones. So yeah, move on from that one. I feel like we were dragging there a bit, but hey, it's a tough one to call.
Yeah.
And I got my order wrong here. Let's make sure I got all the fights first of all. I think there's just 3. So from that one, we go to sticking with the strawweight division, actually. So, and a newcomer versus somebody returning to the division they should be in.
Yeah. Tabitha Ritchie versus Maria Oliveira. It's been a while since we've seen Oliveira, right?
Yeah, it has been a little bit. about 8 months ago for Maria Oliveira. Before that, 2 years. So yeah, she was out a bit up until that last one. And then Ritchie, of course, Baby Shark. She had the fight against Montefiore, who we spoke about earlier, suffering pretty poor loss there, but it was at flyweight. She is obviously pretty small in stature, very much a strawweight. That fight was on short notice, all that kind of thing. Not a great matchup, obviously. So it played out the way that it did. In this one, a good bit more favorable, and the odds makers agree. Not sure I agree with that necessarily, but it is what it is. And I just lost my fantasy game, so sorry for the distraction. That's a bummer. But yeah, Maria Oliveira. The funny thing is, as we mentioned, when this fight was announced, very odd that she was signed to Invicta to be an atomweight or return to atomweight because she had left after competing in that Grand Prix we mentioned earlier. With Kana Asakura, and Kana's actually the one who beat her. So it's no shame in that loss, of course. But yeah, very weird circumstances how that all came together. And then Tabitha Ritchie, of course, back at her proper weight class. She was the LFA champion, right, Steve? I mean, she fought in LFA. I don't remember exactly if she held the title.
Was she the champion? I don't think she was the champion, was she?
Maybe not champ, but she was undefeated. Had that good run in LFA. And now here we are. She's fantastic on the ground, very solid. BJJ striking isn't the worst, but when you go up against Firo in a higher weight class, not gonna be the best situation for you. And Maria Oliveira training with the likes of Jessica Andrade, Carol Hosa, plenty of good people down there in Brazil at PRVT. Still just 24 and 16 fights, so plenty of experience for her. You love to see it, but will it be enough? She'll have the length advantages, obviously. If she can strike from a distance, keep Tabitha off of her. I think that'll be her path to victory, at least the safest path to victory. As playing on the ground would not be wise, but I don't know. It'll be tough to tell how. I think, of course, Tabitha will look better back at strawweight, but rebounding or attempting to rebound off of that loss and where she's at mentally with Maria coming in her debut, biggest stage yet. And again, I should mention also her only other loss was to Marina Rodriguez, at least in the last so many years. I forgot about that. That was on the Contender Series. So, right, that's Contender Series right there. Yeah, that's what that was. No shame in that loss either. So her last two losses are a pretty good competition, of course, in different weight classes, but is what it is. Yeah. All right. With that in mind, this is another tricky one, man. Like, again, as I said, I think that Maria, she kind of keeps away from Tabitha, utilizes her reach advantages. Of course, that would be smart to do. 5'6" to 5'1", 69 to 62. But Tabitha, I think she's usually the shorter fighter anyways, and she's been fine against everybody not named Montefiore. But then you watch Montefiore, the fight there, and you see how well she did. Again, bigger in terms of weight class and all that. But if Maria can replicate that even a little bit, there you go. Not sure she's not as talented as Manon to do that, but that's the way to go. But I think Tabitha will find a way to get to the ground, and she'll get a submission, Steve. I think she'll pull it off. Maybe round 2.
Think so?
Yeah, I'm going to believe in Ritchie in this one. She's got.
I think it'll be hard to get Oliveira down on the ground, though.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, we'll see. What do you think? You gonna go with Oliveira?
I think that it's going to be tough to get Oliveira down. No, I don't think so. But I think it'll be tough to get her on the ground, and that's probably how Ritchie is able to get the win by stoppage, she's not gonna piece up Oliveira. In fact, it would probably be the other way around. If anyone's piecing up the other, it's Oliveira piecing up Ritchie. But I think that Ritchie is probably the better fighter out of the two, even though Oliveira has a ton more fights. And they're about the same age, aren't they?
No.
Ritchie's actually 2 years older.
Yeah.
Ritchie's actually 2 years older. Yeah. And Oliveira has 16 fights compared to the 6 for Ritchie. Minus 225, moderate favorite for Ritchie. That's not a terrible line, I don't think. I lean Ritchie anyway. So, yeah. I think Ritchie probably wins by decision.
All right. There you have it. Both on the Ritchie side. You know, it's another interesting one. It's a big step up for Maria Oliveira, who, again, somebody who was going to go back to atom weight in Invicta, but for some reason that changed, and now she's got this one here. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how it plays out. That's for sure, because these are still two very young fighters, with very different experiences, who are joining this loaded strawweight division. So, let's see how it goes on Saturday. All right. So the highest billed fight for the women on this card, Steve, I'm a little bit surprised to see that it's our girl, friend of the show. I'm happy for her, very much so. It's been a while since we've seen her, about a year. But Jessie Jess is right before the co-main, Steve.
Yeah, Jessica Rose Clark is back against Jocelyn Edwards. How long has it been? It's been a year?
I think it was October when she beat Alpar. Yeah, I think it was exactly about a year.
So maybe next week we'll have a Jessica Rose Clark come in
just like last time.
come in and say, yeah, I'm back, type of thing, and bounce again.
Yeah, I know she waited specifically for that, which was very funny.
Yeah, that was pretty weird. I loved it though. I mean, that was cool.
That had to be like episode 20 something, 30, I don't know.
A year ago.
Yes, exactly. So that shows you how long this stretch has been going on, Steve. My goodness.
Pantera, though.
Yeah, against Jocelyn Edwards, who last loss was to Carol Hossa. No shame in that one, of course. Had her very quick appearance. The turnaround is what that was, because she made the short notice debut filling in for Betch against Yanan Wu. Got the win there. And then, turned around like a gangster, but against a gangster in Hossa, and kind of turned her back a little bit.
Yeah.
And now Jessie Jess returning off the heels of an ACL tear and the greatest performance of her career. Looked like an absolute monster against Sarah Alpar. Absolute abuse in that fight. And I'm taking on the rangy Jocelyn Edwards out of Panama. I mean, this fight should be pretty darn fun, Steve. I think that if anybody would try to take it to the ground, it would be Jessie Jess. But if she looks as comfortable and feels as comfortable as she did in her last time out, we could have a bloodbath on our hands again, because she got in tight and was able to use some elbows. Obviously, the knees on path to that victory against Alpar. I mean, she pretty much finished her twice in that fight.
Yeah, Alpar was as good as dead.
Yeah, it was very brutal. And okay, Jimmy says September 19th. So just slightly over
crazy
a year. And
wild,
man,
poor thing, man. She's
momentum killer.
Talk about ups and downs. Jessie Jess has had some ups and downs in her MMA career, and then she comes out and just should have just I mean, it was crazy. Like that fight against Alpar was wild. Probably her best showing ever. And
Oh yeah.
then ACL tear and puts her out fucking over a year.
Well, I think she tore it in the fight, so it's
Right.
like, geez, she hurt
It's
herself beating her up so bad.
tough, man. That's a literal tough break. That sucks.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. So, uh, and that's what makes it more difficult is like we don't know if she'll be able to carry that over right away over. Like I'm sure she can in the next fight, perhaps, but
Yeah.
after the year-long layoff, and she's done an incredible job of, not being lazy while she was recovering. Like she was still training the rest of her body um, while she was healing her ACL and all that. So she's very good at, you know, managing, staying healthy, I guess you could say, while recovering from a very serious injury. So from that regard, I guess she should be fine. But again, it's not like she's getting fight reps or all that kind of stuff, carrying sparring right over and what have you. But either way, if that Jessie Jess can show up in this fight, then it's going to be a tough night for almost anybody, that is on the other side. And
Yeah.
Jocelyn Edwards, we know she is very good as well. Looked great in her, the Woo performance, and then had some good signs against Carol Hosa, but Carol just really smothered her. And if I'm Jessie, I mean, you got to look at that because Carol just got on top of her a bit, really got in her face and, dictated wherever the fight went. Carol did, but I don't know. Carol is, a good sized bantamweight. Jessie still not the biggest bantamweight ever, and obviously in comparison to Edwards here, you can see that the differences in their height and what have you. But
Mm-hmm.
just Jessie, if she can make it maybe a little bit uglier than trying to fight Edwards's game, which Edwards, again lengthy and will try and get in her face as well. If you can close the distance a bit there, work some of those inside leg kicks for Ghost. Why not? Pop the jab out, get the elbows in tight. Easier said than done, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm very excited to have Jessie back at all. Same with Jocelyn. I feel like the Carol fight. Wow, the Carol fight was 8 months ago. Holy shit. You want to talk about she comes in red hot. Those were 2 weeks apart, right? Yeah. Red hot with the Woo victory. And then, the quick turnaround. And then now she's waited. So my goodness. Kind of interesting how that all works, but I'm going to believe in Jessie. I really do. That she'll be able to carry it over at least enough to where she can perform the same. And yeah, put on a good show. But Edwards, very tough, very good as well. I don't think she's going to make it easy. It's going to be a much closer fight than the Alpar one. I mean, the Alpar one wasn't very close. Alpar should have been flyweight from the beginning. But I just don't think Jocelyn's style is quite the one that will. It's not going to be the worst style matchup that Jessie could have came back to. I'm sure that she'll try and work that knee, maybe get Jessie thinking. That'd be smart. But I just think she'll be able to get in tight, make it her fight. So Jessica Rose Clark, Jessie Jess. Unanimous decision, I think. I don't think she'll finish Jocelyn because Jocelyn, like I said, is a gangster as well. But man, these are all pretty tough fights, though. Really, like this might be the one I'm most confident about. But even then, it's like whenever there's that major injury and coming back, it makes it harder, right, Steve? Like as much as we love Jessie.
Yeah. Yeah. There's kind of an uphill battle for her. I mean, the injury. We'll see what comes of it. How she's gonna be in the cage after a year. The Alpar fight was amazing, but that's behind her now, and she's had that ACL tear since then, or literally in the fight. Hasn't been back in over a year. Edwards, the same. 3 months more, 4 months less than Jessie Jess. She hasn't fought recently.
Yeah. So very true. Very true. But yeah, excited to see it again. Official pick, Steve. I see you turning the mic off there. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Jessica Rose Clark probably wins the fight. It's gonna be a nasty fight though, I think. I think it'll be a grueling fight for both Jessie Jess and Edwards. Edwards is a tough girl, man. She's a tough one to put down. I don't think that Jessie Jess gets a finish, but she probably wins the fight by decision, I think. If Edwards were to win, I wouldn't be surprised though.
Right. But that's why they fight, so we can see who is better. And Ghost asks, has Jess ever thrown an inside low kick? I couldn't tell you specifically. She's more of an outside girl, I believe, but would have to go back and do some tape study. Definitely not a primary tactic, if my memory serves me correct. And if she's watching, please correct me. Jen is asking, when is the Twitter mailbag? We did it already pretty much, Jen, unless there's something that we missed, but we kind of incorporated in. They were both about Firo. Both the questions were about Firo. Yeah, if you have something, ask us, because Rain here asking, didn't Jessie Jess beat Van Zandt? Yes, she did. Then Van Zandt asked for a title shot against Nico Montano, which Valentina wasn't too happy with. I don't remember if that was the timeline of events there, but that was at flyweight.
I don't remember that being true, but I mean, if so, that's pretty fucking wild of Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, and then he says, for some reason, I got blocked when I posted a comment about Valentina on PVZ's page, reference to last week's episode. And then he says, how come Jessie didn't ask for a title shot after beating Paige? Because she's realistic.
Yeah, she's not a crazy woman.
I think that she was ranked like 9 or 10 after that. So she was like, I got to work my way up still. I remember her saying that. Just like, yeah, she's not crazy, at least in that regard.
Yeah, we don't know how crazy or whatever she is, but I mean,
Aussie hooligan.
She's not asking for fucking title shots.
Yeah. So, all right. UFC Vegas 41. And Rue says he just looked that up and it's pretty accurate. All right. There we go. There we go.
Paige Van Zandt's just a wild woman, man. She's very into herself. So that doesn't really surprise me, to be honest.
All right. We have one more fight, the biggest and bestest fight of the weekend, you could say, at least the most important, probably. I mean, it is a co-main event. It is between two highly ranked fighters. Before we get to the Phantom Punch breakdown here, because RIZIN is back for RIZIN 31. We already mentioned her on this show, Steve, but it is the atomweights.
Kana Asakura versus Saori Oshima. Kana Asakura is back, boys and girls.
Boys, get yourselves ready. Kana's first time back since that last title fight against Ayaka Hamasaki in their rematch. Very closely contested, very fun fight. This fight as well should be quite the doozy, as we were very excited when this was announced like 2 weeks or so ago. Of course, Saori Oshima is the current Deep Jewels atomweight and microweight champion. She is quite talented and tiny for the division. The mother of two twins at 26 years old, 6-2 as a pro, coming in with a 3-fight winning streak, 2 of which came on the same night in that atomweight tournament of Deep Jewels 33 or 34, if I remember correctly, over Siwoo Park. And then before that, in the opening round of the tournament, had that just absurd freaking Kimura against Emi Tamimatsu in about 40 seconds. Insane that she could finish her that quickly in an MMA fight. And now, by far, her biggest fight of her career. Even though no title on the line, she makes her RIZIN debut. As you can see, standing at 4'11". That's why
Tiny
she
one.
is also a microweight champion. Yeah, very big fight for her. And how crazy is this, Steve? We were just speaking about Maria Oliveira's experience, but
Yeah.
Sari Oshima, one of the absolute best prospects in the game as well, a double champ. In my books, like the 10th ranked atomweight in the division. She was bound to be in RIZIN at some point. Very great potential. Is capable of winning this fight. We'll get further into that. But she is older than Kana Sakura by 2 years. And Kana has 20 plus fights at 24 years old. She is an elite level atomweight, and she's not even 25 yet, Steve. How good is Kana? My goodness.
She's very good. Very good.
Very damn good.
At 24 years old and just getting better, man. But so many fights.
Yeah. Insane. Very insane, the level of consistency she's been able to have in her still very young career. It's very scary to think that she might have the same amount, if not a fight shy or two, as Ayaka. They might have like the same number of fights. Of course, Ayaka's record is better, but she's got a lot of fights, for this time period. If she keeps it up, of course she's going to go down as one of the best. And I mean, she probably is one of the best ever already, which is nuts. But, she's not the best, of course. Still has a lot of work to do, but she's put in a lot of work already. And now she's taking on somebody looking to do the same in Siori, who is very talented in her own right. Fantastic killer instinct. Her and Seika are very good. Small. Yes, very good. But a very good wrestler as well. Yep. Great jiu-jitsu. Trains out of AACC, which is where Ayaka trains. So you better believe she's been getting some tips and some help for this one from the GOAT. I mean, that was the last fight for Kana. And Jin is asking, do you think Kana striking will prove too much for Oshima? That is pretty much the X factor.
Yeah, we don't know.
Of the fight, because we know that they both love getting the fight to the ground. Oshima, every single fight, that is her mission. She does not stop attacking the legs, going for the body locks, underhooks, overhook, whatever. She wants the fight to the ground as quickly and aggressively as she can get it there. Maybe looked a little bit slower in that regard against Park, at least, but continued on against Aono, a very strong wrestler. And I mean, Aono still, honestly, at this stage, as good of a prospect as she is, she's practically still just a wrestler. She has a lot to improve on, does Hikaru. But for Oshima to go in there and have that game plan and out wrestle her, very impressive stuff. And Aono she's bigger, of course, than Oshima as well. So it can give you a little bit of confidence in that regard against Kana. I mean, I think everything considered, Oshima can hang, but Kana is just a very talented wrestler as well. Just a very talented fighter. And yes, at this stage, Jin, a better striker. Remains to be seen how far Oshima has improved since we did last see her in those tournament fights. But no matter how much she's improved, I think she's still going to want to do what she does, And then if that doesn't work out for her, we'll see where she goes from there. If she continues to just get relentless with it. Because in that first Siwoo Park fight, which was her last loss, she never adapted. She didn't change the game plan. She continued to just go for the legs, go for the takedown and made it so obvious, right, Steve? Like, I don't know if you remember that one, but Park was just like, all right, I know you're going to try. And she just sprawled on her, got away, get back up. It was that on repeat, Sari, not a great performance from her. A good first round, but then after that, when she didn't get the finish, Park just figured her out. Can't do that going forward. And she hasn't done that in the last couple fights because her game plan has worked, though. So I think that the team around her, which is obviously a great one, and Ayaka helping and all that kind of thing, will prepare her for someone of Kana's caliber. But in the striking department, Kana has the edge right now, Jin. That's just how it is. And Ghost chimes in saying, we don't know. Oshima likes to kick into the clinch, which is crafty, but Kana knows how to maintain distance, like in the Hamasaki fight. So can the kicks distract Kana? there you go. A little bit of an internal chess match there that we'll be getting. But again, that could lead Kana to maybe catch on, depending if she catches on, and get a takedown off the low kicks, right? I mean, I think she's talented enough to do that. I know we mentioned earlier it's a skill set thing, Ghost, but there's a little something to look into. Either way, I mean, Siri will be happy and fine on the ground if Kana takes her down. At least that's where she'll be willing to play. And, I think they're both confident enough in each of their submission games and their grappling to go against one another in that area. And I hope that's the case anyway, Steve. I don't want the grappling to cancel out on this one because, they're both fun, very fun fighters on the ground, and both could be very nasty because,
they could both cancel each other out.
The Jamie Hinshaw fight in particular in Kana's Bellator debut was one of the gnarliest Kimuras you'll ever see. Almost ripped her entire arm off. When she gets on something too, she is very mean. And then she beat up poor Feruse as well with the knees and all that. Feruse didn't do shit in that one. Just how it goes sometimes. But it's a tough fight. We know at this stage that it's just a fact that Kana is the better fighter, the more experienced fighter. She's an elite level atomweight, only getting better. Some people think she even beat Ayaka in that rematch. Very closely contested. Oshima is the future, as is Kana, which is the crazy thing, right? Like, that's how good she is so early on. These are both the future of the atomweight division. It's just a matter of finding out if Oshima is ready for this step up. And we're going to find out. And I'm so excited to find out. It's tough, Steve. It's not the toughest fight that we've talked about, I think, but it's got that big important feel to it. Like, it's great to see Oshima get this chance and see what she can do against one of the best fighters in the division, because she's one of them too, but she hasn't taken that next step. That's the big thing. So
yeah, but who do you have winning the fight?
I mean, I can't go against Kana. I can't go against Kana, just with all things considered, right? Like, I mean,
it's really just tough to go against her, I think.
Yeah, I'm very high on Siri again. Like, I think that she's going to be around for a good while, and it's great that she's getting to go here. But just at this moment, and until we see how she does against Kana, that's going to tell us a lot. So it's very hard to pick Oshima without seeing where she stands against the upper level of the division, because we know she can hang and beat probably everybody below like six-ish range. Because I mean, right there we're talking about like Ashley Cummins, who that'd be an interesting matchup. The Cummins is the Delbonis and the Miyu and Zapatella, all those fighters. Like, I think she could be I feel much more confident right now, her going into those fights, but we don't know yet. We just don't know. This will tell us kind of a bit more. And so on paper and with all we've seen, everything considered, yeah, you got to go with Kana right now, I think. But don't sleep on Oshima, that's for sure. She has that killer instinct that is, one of those rare attributes, I think, to have. And so if she finds an opening, she can get the job done. And we've seen Kana submitted before and have some issues with those very crafty grapplers, or at least aggressive grapplers, who just don't let up with their style. And even I gave her a good competitive fight, and I is also very talented. She's one of the best in the world too, or the back end of the top 15. But yeah, man, I think that Suri is going to be competitive, but for me to pick her, it's hard. That's hard to pick her, because Kana, again, is just, she's an elite. She's one of the elites. So I think Kana will win, but I think it'll be a close unanimous decision. Could end up being split, but I think Siri is going to put up a hell of a fight. But it's just hard to pick against Kana.
Yeah, I think that Asakura probably finishes the fight.
Ooh.
She'll get it down to the ground.
I mean, it'll just go there because Siri wants to try and get there, like whether she ends up on her back or gets on top, who knows?
Yeah, I think so. But I think that Kana probably beats her by ground and pound or something.
Okay.
Yeah. just think that she's the better fighter right now. Maybe in a couple of years, if they were to fight again, might lean the other way. Who knows? But I think at this point in their careers, Kana is probably the better fighter out of the two. She wins. I don't think it'll be easy though. By any means, I don't think it'll be easy for Kana.
Yeah, definitely. So I am very, very excited for this one. I love kind of these opportunities for new atomweights, new lifeblood, all that kind of thing. And of course, it was a matter of time for Oshima. We're getting it maybe earlier than expected, but that's all right.
I think that's the thing is, like I said, in a couple of years, it might be a better fight than what we might see.
I'm sure they'll meet down the road for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see a rematch no matter what at some point. So,
yeah,
I mean they're both still very young, right?
Yeah, they might actually just show out, and put on a fantastic fight, which I think that will probably happen. I just think that we might see more. It'll be better down the line, more meaning for it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe this will be a title fight in a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's what I was getting at. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe for a title in a couple of years,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine that it's happening now. I like it. I mean, obviously, we're all gonna watch, and Kana Asakura is phenomenal.
There you go. And Ghost says the two questions we ask for this fight is who controls distance for striking and who will be on top position. Kana will control the striking distance. I'm very confident in that. But then who will be on the top position is the question that we aren't sure about.
And that's exactly. And I think that Kana will be better. So she'll be able to get to the top position easier than Oshima will.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I'm picking Kana Asakura by ground and pound, I guess,
Yeah, definitely. And James says, nah, Hamasaki beat Asakura in the rematch. I rewatched that fight. Hamasaki's feints and stance switching confused Asakura. Shout out to Ghost. Yeah, I mean, I thought Ayaka won as well, but it was way closer than I thought it would be. That's for sure. That was a good fight, indeed. And James says maybe Oshima uses Hamasaki's feints and stance switches and confuses Asakura. That would be very impressive if she was able to adapt, or utilize those kind of things that Hamasaki does for this matchup, because we have never seen her really try to do that, at least to that extent of, her friend and mentor in Ayaka. So that'd be cool. Hopefully, James, that'd be a great development to see. And Go says, if Oshima shoots like she did against Park, Asakura takes her back, and that's not good for Oshima. Yeah, exactly. And Rue asks, Oshima being thrown to a wolf. I feel like somebody asked this, when the fight was announced, but we don't know yet. I think, as we believe so highly in Oshima for at least getting to this point at some point, we don't know if that's now.
Well, we knew that she was going to be able to fight in RIZIN's atomweight division, but going up against Kana Asakura, kind of a wolf. Yeah, I do think so. I do think so. I think Asakura is a wolf in this fight.
Comparison. Yeah.
And it's crazy because she's younger by a couple of years.
Right.
But she's been in so many fights.
Yeah, very well established at this point, indeed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that will be a doozy, man. I am looking forward to it, and unfortunately, I'm gonna miss it live, which makes me so sad. But that's all right. Rue says, "Mini wolf since Asakura is young still." Yeah, there you go, baby wolf. Hilarious. All right. So, that in mind, that is RIZIN 31. Another good lineup, as it always is with RIZIN. And now you guys know what that means, what time it is. Now that we're done with all the previews, so many to preview.
Lots of fights.
My goodness. My goodness. Paced it very well, though, as we get right in time for the Fan of Punch breakdown. And it's Sohee Ham week. Are you ready for a former RIZIN Atomweight champion?
They're ready. They're ready.
What a great segue, building off of last week's master class from Emily Ducote, the strawweight champion of Invicta currently, going to Sohee Ham, who is one of the most winningest champions in MMA history among the women. She has more titles than people realize. So let's break down her master class now. She had one as well. Get yourselves ready, everybody. Get the popcorn ready. Let's full screen it. Let's dive on in as I adjust my chair, as I always have to do, even though I feel like there hasn't been too much red the last couple weeks, but that's all right. I'll do it anyway. All right. Let me full screen here. Oh, 1 second. All right. Sohee Ham's masterclass performance, as I mentioned. Feints are very useful tactical tools that can help anyone in the world if they look like your real strikers. The feints have to look like the real attacks, and real attacks have to look like feints. The key to maximizing feints is actually land real strikes. The point of feints are to trick someone. When a fighter uses sharp feints but doesn't establish any real strikes or telegraphs their straight line blitzes, then they are just pretending to be a technical fighter. The truth is these types of fighters just trick the audience into thinking they have a technical fighting style instead of tricking the opponent. All right, now here we are with the Jin Yu Fry fight. And a head and shoulder feint. Opponent's feint looks sharp. Problem is her attacks look nothing like her feints. Instead of feints, Ham uses the cross-arm check from closed stance. Southpaw versus southpaw. This is not a feint since she sticks out an open hand. This tool is used for hand fights to feel for openings in mid-range. When the opponent declines the hand fight and attacks, it becomes a measuring tool for Ham, to line up her right hand. I know, I'm off right now.
Ham.
The hammed. She's a ham. Ham loves to use this unusual cross check from closed stance, southpaw versus southpaw. Ham flashes a cross check, causing her opponent to respond with a telegraphed jab. Slips the telegraphed jab at the same time, prepares her kick by pivoting out her lead leg. Hard outside low kick lands that buckles the opponent's lead leg since all weight was transferred to the lead leg due to the telegraphed jab. Unfortunately, the sequence does not end well visually since Ham's opponent threw a weak since her knee buckled, but well timed straight while Ham was on one foot, causing her to lose balance the downside of kicks.
That's not good.
Watch Ham's feet compared to her opponent's. Ham is constantly changing position while her opponent keeps readjusting hers. Flashes the cross check to invite an attack down the linear track. A little bit of rhyming there. Opponent falls for Ham's trap hook, line and sinker. Attacks by bringing the lead arm down, huge telegraph, and steps right into Ham's track. Ham sees the attack coming and prepares a counterattack by shifting her weight to her rear foot. Ham's rear foot loads the rear hand, The opponent was so overextended that she had to move her hips back just to correct her balance.
Blast.
Hard cross counter lands, but not at full power since Ham's rear foot hasn't pivoted all the way through. Opponent has been countered twice off the same cross-check flasher. One does not need to be a genius to think maybe it's not a good idea to run into Ham's tracks with my telegraph jabs. There's the quotes again. Opponent, for the third time, loads her lead hand while attacking on Ham's tracks. Feints are a great tool for strikers, but when attacks look nothing like the feints, they become useless. Still crazy to think that Jin fought in Road FC. Even if it was just for this fight. You love to see it.
For the one.
Cross arm check draws out opponent's predictable attack pattern. Swinging cross check down increases the speed of Ham's pull counter by acting as a counterbalance while her weight has been shifted to the back foot. The opponent looks silly overextending. He said it, not me.
Yeah.
Heel points towards.
Pray.
Yeah, heel points upwards instead of full pivot. Leads to the hard shot to opponent's face, but not at full power yet. Spoiler alert. Ham pushes off the lead foot to switch weight to the back foot to pull away from goofy rear hook. Technical strikers don't attack while out of position like this, especially after just getting countered hard. The thing is, Ham's opponent is not a technical striker. He's getting zesty. Little head bob there from Ham. Another cross check to force a reaction. Insanity is doing something over and over, expecting different results. Albert Einstein quotes Ghost Phantom.
Love that.
Same results. Ham just pulls back while the opponent overextends. Great base by Ham allows her to parry the jab. Linearly, it attacks on Ham's tracks. Track hasn't been working, so opponent decides to attack again on a straight line in order to throw the rear hand to see if it works. Ham sees her opponent's desperate rear hook attempt. Ham's lead foot is pointed towards the midsection, a great position to fire off counter, especially when opponent is out of position. He changed it to midsection this week. It would have been crotch last time. Brilliant outside slip and rear straight counter. Yes, it was. Lead hook misses, but closes door for Ham to exit without getting hit. Ham changes her rhythm by shortening her stance, something you expect from an experienced veteran. Lengthen stance to close distance. By taking a micro step backwards and at the same time lengthening her stance, Ham has created a false distance where her opponent thinks she's in range to attack. This is quite the trap. This
It's a trap.
might seem meaningless, but this is a high-level maneuver. This maneuver is hard to execute if the fighter has to think about it. It takes real-time experience and training to do this subconsciously. Not even thinking about it. Opponent closes distance on the line of Ham's rear hand while Ham is in a short stance. Lengthened stance to intercept the opponent's face with rear hook.
Oh,
Rear counter lands again.
her feet were so close to each other. I love that.
Hinges hips to duck under the rear hand. This movement places all the weight on the lead foot.
Oh,
Ham rolls back to her opponent's lead shoulder, but is able to mitigate the damage by pushing off her lead foot. Sneaking out of there.
fucking beautiful footwork.
Since nothing is working, the opponent decides to throw a rear body kick to the closed side to see if it works. Take note that the rear body kick to closed side is the easiest kick to catch since it lands on the back, which shortens the distance for the lead arm to overhook. Ham sees the telegraphed kick. Flaccid kick hits the armpit, allowing Ham to simply overhook the leg. Kick the kick.
Everybody's favorite word.
Indeed. Rear counter straight lands while opponent is on one leg.
Wish she was so off balance.
Yeah. Same shot by Ham and same attack on a straight line. To make matters worse, the blitz looks nothing like her feints.
Too fast.
Ham is not known for her step-up inside low kick since she's a southpaw that fights orthodox opponents open stance. But since both fighters are southpaw close stance, the step-up inside low kick becomes available. Flashes rear overhand. Ham steps up with the rear leg, while the opponent is looking to counter a rear hook that never came with her own rear hook by planting all her weight on the front foot. Hard inside low kick lands while the opponent's rear hook misses completely. Feinting the overhand to inside low kick is a great setup for anyone. The same rear hand counter lands again, but that's not what's important here. Watch the reaction of her coach. No breakdown for the next sequence. Let's just enjoy this highlight reel KO by Ham.
Oh.
And there's a clang.
So quick. It happened so fast.
I know. This was a great performance by Ham. She only used 2 looks, the cross hand check throughout the fight, and the change in the rhythm near the end. While minimalist, these looks led to a beautiful knockout.
Yep.
Let's watch that again and really appreciate Ham's brilliance. Why not? Hammer fist at the end, quote unquote, super necessary. Because why not? All the little effects he did. Smack pow. Of all of Ham's performances, where does this one rank? Ghost asks. Is this the best one from a technical standpoint? Or was going toe-to-toe with Hamasaki better since she is just as dangerous as Ham? That is a phenomenal question. Steve, I'm curious, what do you say about that? And what do you guys think about that as well? Steve, what do you say?
I'll answer the last question first. Going toe-to-toe with Hamasaki better since she is just as dangerous as Ham. Yeah, I think so.
All right. There you have it. I mean, that's always holy shit. We have 36 unchecked comments I can see right there. I cannot wait to read them all. But um yeah, whenever I don't know. That's that's an interesting it's such an interesting question because of course the better opponent and being able to beat them, is always a better thing. But she, in my opinion, like I think that Hamasaki actually won that trilogy fight. It was very, very close. And yes, she hung in there, did very good, had plenty of great moments, but just from a performance standpoint, I mean, Ham was in no trouble whatsoever there against Jinyu Fry, who, if we're gonna be honest here, I know there was some silly fun talk there from Ghost in that one as well as last week, but Jinyu Fry, when she became the champion right after that fight in Invicta, and she was one of the highest and best atom weights at the time. Yeah, now she's a strawweight in the UFC, of course, but that was around a time where Jin was still very legit.
She was at the top.
Yeah, of course, there's levels to the game, but yeah. So when you look at it that way, performance-wise, I think that one is probably better for Ham because she got the knockout, didn't take really any damage, and in the Hamasaki one, you could argue didn't even win that fight, but of course had great moments as well. But and then before that, he asked, "Is this the best from a technical standpoint?"
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably a lot easier to say for that. Yeah. So, but another great breakdown as usual. Ghost Phantom, you just know how to do it. So, all right, let me get to all these. My goodness, everybody on the Ham train. Let's see. What do we got? Centro Wing had his popcorn out and ready to go. That was actually before that, I think. No, he was getting it. Yeah, he was anticipating right when we were still talking about RIZIN. All right. Rain loves it. So he Ham. Jimmy loves her as well. Hamderley. Rain says, Ghost with the new font. Look at this guy paying attention to the fonts. James says, man, Ghost already disappointed in phrase technique. Centro Ghost already pissed. Alvin came back just in time. You'll love to see it. James says, telegraphed. Is Ghost throwing shade again? Yes, he was.
He was.
Rue says, yeah. Rue says, Ham has some underrated footwork. Absolutely. That was great at highlighting that. Rain says, Ham with the blue laser eyes. James with the pow. Shade thrown again. There it is, the shade, says Jimmy. Jin says, geez, Ghost, I thought that Fry was good, but after seeing this, yikes. Oh,
just
man.
one fight.
Just devaluing. Jimmy telegraphed, silly, predictable, throwing shade, goofy. Holy shit, Ghost not happy. Ghost with the spice, says Rue. Ghost with the quotes. Yeah, I know. Albert Einstein. Whoever thought that was going to happen on this show? Not me. Ghost, how would you recommend Frey to get better at striking? And Ghost says, maybe learn how to strike. That's normally a good start. My goodness. This guy. He's turning a new leaf. He's going heel. James says he changed it to midsection. Yes, I noticed that right away. It says Ghost is getting funny with these. Jimmy says lengthen and shortening stance. Got to try that. Rain says Ham is styling now. He's laughing at the flaccid mention, as is everybody. Jin says Ghost loves flaccid. Calling him out there. Ghost says, I don't know about that. I haven't needed the beeswax or deer antler spray yet. There you go. Man, Ghost is tearing it up with these comments, says Rain. Rue says, Fry's coach said they were preparing for Whaley, Rose, and Joanna after watching this. Probably not a good idea. Well, I mean, she wanted to step in for Rose against Andrade in the rematch. Mr. Beckham here, stopping in quite late, and he knows it. He says, evening, gentlemen, stepping in late. Yeah, we're about to wrap up.
Yeah,
appreciate you nonetheless. Yeah, go back and watch the replay. Rain says, I agree with the last part. The competition against Ham was way too good. Jin says, I used to think Fry was good. I mean, everyone has off days. Come on now. Jimmy says, we know what pisses Ghost off, throwing meaningless feints. Yeah, that is for sure. Alvin says again, Mr. Phantom, Fry was doing her best. No need for that type of language. I love you, Alvin, so much. Thank you. Get these guys under control, would you? I need to make Alvin a mod now. Then everybody would be banned. So maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you're all done. You're all done for.
My, oh my. What a doozy that was, though. They're always doozies, so that was good. Sao Hee Ham, can't go wrong. Can't wait to see her again. In some ridiculousness, though. Zamboanga rematch, we would assume. We'll see when that comes. But until then, we have plenty of great fights this weekend.
Mid.
Come on now. I'm excited for most of this stuff overseas, but I can't wait to see Jessie back. Adore her dearly. And yeah, it is what it is. And Randa, that's some of my gals fighting.
Is this the Victoria and Costa fight card?
Yes, it is.
Oh, God.
I knew you were going to say something. But all right, with that in mind, I'm sad. I cannot believe Derrick Henry beat me in fantasy, Steve.
I lost by 1 point.
I lost by like 6. I was up 150 to 121, and he was the only guy left, and he beat me now. So I'm very upset.
1 point.
I'm very upset.
There it is. Look at it. It's
my God.
1.6.
Oh, that's terrible.
I was winning.
That is terrible.
And then
same. So was I.
Stephon Diggs gave me 23 points, but it wasn't enough.
Brutal. Now we can go cry in shame. But before we leave, James asks, is Fry really that good without ghost comments influencing me? No, they didn't influence me for her career. She was definitely talented. And yes, I think she should have lost that first Mina fight for sure. But I mean, nobody's saying she's as good as Hamasaki and Jin. But I will remind you here's a thing for you guys. You can go rewatch the Jin rematch. Not the first fight, because the first fight was an interesting one. Well, even I remember there was a narrative that was made that Jin was on her way to winning that fight, the first fight, until she got cut. But that I don't think was the case. In the second fight, though, if RIZIN was scored round by round, Jin would have beat Hamasaki in the rematch, just so you know. But that's not how it's scored. So Hamasaki dominated her in the third, got the win because she is a genius. Yes, Fry is not as bad as she may have looked against Ham, just so you know.
She might not have had a great UFC career either.
She's on a winning streak right now, Steve. We're not done yet. For now.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
Give me that Penne fight, damn it. All right, let's get out of here. Don't forget to follow us, like, share, and subscribe, you guys. Hit that notification bell. I saw plenty of you guys smacking that thing for the for the Dakota Fan of Punch breakdown, leaving your comments. I appreciate it so much. And all the other content coming out, other discussion, me, myself, and Pat Auger. Yeah, follow us, like, share, subscribe. Audio versions now on Anchor and Spotify, on Google Podcast as well, on Breaker, a couple others. The big ones for the most part. I don't think we're on Apple or iStore yet. I haven't figured out setting that one up, but who needs it? Spotify is nice and big. Anchor, it's a good platform. I mean, as long as you can hear it, right? So that's what matters. Just search WMMA Today. I think if you just search it on your search engine, it'll pop up now, all that good stuff. So there you go. All you could ever need. Yeah. So with that in mind, Steve, anything coming yet? Anything you working on? Nope. Nothing new. That's all good. As for me, I did, of course, all the interviews and content for the Bellator Fight Week. And that's pretty much what's been keeping me busy is the travel stuff. Speaking of Hamasaki, actually, I do have a little bit of a mini project coming for you guys this week, if I can get enough time, probably crank it on out, but something that was inspired over this past weekend. So looking to do a little something there on Hamasaki, give her some more love and respect always, and have some interviews planned this week for tomorrow, actually, with maybe somebody we just talked about on this show. No spoilers. There's a lot of people we talked about, so I'm not going to say who, but might have something planned for tomorrow. See how that goes. And then I'll be down in Florida for the PFL Championship next week. So again, any questions you could ever have for any of the fighters that are fighting next week, next Wednesday, lay them on me. So Julia Budd, shameless plug. I spoke to her at Bellator because, again, like I said, Lance Gibson Jr. fought, and he is her stepson. So she was there. I was like, I got to catch up with Julia because, why not? She's great. Very fun chat with her. She's debuting against Caitlin Young. You can check that out. I'll probably talk to her again in the coming days ahead of the fight, maybe after the fight if she wins. And Caitlin, I'll talk to everybody, get them all done. And might as well say it now, but Steve is going to have to either go solo or have a guest next week because I will not have time for next week's episode, you guys, just because of the PFL is a Wednesday show. So I'll be flying out on Sunday. So I'll be there on Sunday and I won't have time for the show. So I'll miss you guys, but Steve will be solo. Or do you have a guest in mind, Steve? Are we going to reveal now or is it going to be a secret till then?
Secret.
He's got secrets planned. All right. So look forward to seeing that. And yes, Ghost, if you have any more questions for Kayla or anybody else, please let me know. Anybody that goes for, my email, my Twitter, all that. At Drake Riggs _, at Steve K _MA, Bay. At the Scrap News. What is it? He does the double. Yeah, I think that is about it. So, Steve, let's send it on home, man.
Yes. Thank you to everybody who comes and joins us on a weekly basis. We appreciate you just as much as we appreciate everybody else who watches. We just don't know who you are, so I can't thank you in person. I can't say your name. I don't know who you are, but thank you. But I can thank Ghost Phantom, of course, every week now showing up with his Ghost Phantom breakdowns. Love them. And then there's Rain, Jimmy, Ro, Alvin, James, Aaron was here, I guess. Is it Ghost? I don't know. I don't know if it's Ghost or not. Ghost actually said that he will never come on screen.
I know.
At one point.
He can do just voice. You can go like this. You can go like this.
You could.
Like a little ghost.
Does Ghost really want to wants to hear his voice?
That's true. That's true.
Ghost, are you going to come on with me, Ghost? He won't. Yeah. He can break down he can do his own breakdown.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, to everybody who shows up on a weekly basis, thank you. Until next week, have a great time watching these fights.
Peace.
Later.